Paul F. Tompkins!
Hey, that's me!
Comedy bang bang, 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 comedy
Big chunky bubbles!
That's right.
comedy bang bang, comedy bang bang, comedy bang bang, comedy bang bang, comedy bang bang.
Now you are playing Big Chunky Bubbles.
That's right.
Which Big Chunky Bubbles was that was born on tour.
Born on tour.
That was
born minutes before a show.
That's right. We were at a restaurant, and something on a menu at the restaurant we were at right before the show.
It was in a description of an item, some kind of stew or something.
Big
that
Chunky
featured
Bubbles.
Big Chunky Bubbles.
And you said, "Oh, I should be a character called Big Chunky Bubbles." We said, "Great." And then minutes later, you were.
That's pretty much it.
Will you be sort of my co-host here?
Absolutely, sir. Wow, what an honor. I've been missing my other half. You'll be a good replacement.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know that I want to do that necessarily, but you can certainly talk to our next guest with me if you like.
Okay.
I believe he's a children's entertainer, so that's
Wow.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But he's a children's entertainer, and his name is Big Chunky Bubbles. Big Chunky Bubbles.
Yeah, hello.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Is it?
It is. I'm fascinated by new people. And
Are you really?
are you going to question every single statement I make?
Do you think I am?
I do.
I'm not.
Oh, okay. This is Murphy O'Malaman.
Hello, sir.
Oh, hi.
Murphy's a child of 9 years old.
Yeah. I'm around kids a lot. Not my favorite.
You don't like children,
No, and they don't like me.
but you're a children's entertainer,
Yeah, it's the best I could do.
meaning you wanted to be a regular entertainer.
Sure.
But kids with their ill-formed brains were the only ones who enjoyed you, or?
That almost seemed like a rude question.
But it wasn't, you have to admit.
Yeah, I have to admit. I think it's because my particular act maybe didn't capture the hearts and minds of adults.
What is your act? You're
My name is Big Chunky Bubbles.
But I mean, you're dressed like a magician. You have a suit on and a top hat and a
That's
cape.
right. I create bubbles.
You create bubbles. What does that mean?
Yeah. What do you mean, what does that mean? Bubbles have to come from somewhere.
Like,
So I create them. Not all bubbles before you ask that.
I'm not assuming you
I
create.
don't want to hear like, oh, I was in a pool and I saw some bubbles. Did you make those? No, I didn't.
if you saw bubbles in the pool,
Sometimes you see bubbles in the pool. It's not uncommon. Or in a stream.
It's usually when a fellow swimmer farts in the pool is when you see
How rude.
them. Of them, yes.
Both you and that hypothetical person.
so you make big chunky bubbles?
I make big chunky bubbles. Listen. It's not funny. Anyone can make bubbles out of soap. It makes me sick. I make bubbles out of various soups and porridges. That's why they call me Big Chunky Bubbles.
Do the kids get to eat them?
Get to. They end up eating them.
So let me get your process right.
All right.
You're-
Let's see how you do.
You're hired for a children's party.
Right. Because someone has seen my ad in the newspaper, or they've gotten one of my leave behind postcards at a previous event, or once a month when I hire my skywriter, they've seen that in the sky.
You hire a skywriter once a month.
Once a month! Did I stutter?
What day do you do it? Do you do it on payday?
Do you have any idea how it works in my line of work?
The skywriting or the chunky bubble line of
I'm
work?
not a skywriter. I make big chunky bubbles.
I get it.
She gets it.
Why are you teaming up against me?
I'm mad at you.
I don't know. I don't get it. What, you?
Well, there's not a payday. I don't go every Friday to the office, the chunky bubble office, and get my check.
You misunderstand. I mean on people's paydays. So that they have disposable income. They look up in the sky.
Why would I make that leap?
If I were skywriting,
Hold on a second. Am I right, folks? That's asking a lot.
Boo! They're all booing.
How do you know when everyone gets paid, sir?
Yes, sir.
On the 15th and the last day of the month. Yes! Thank you, one guy. I'm right.
What about people who have direct deposit? Where are my direct deposit people at?
I'm just saying.
What
Yes.
about free? What about freelancers like detectives?
Yeah.
Where
just
are my
like
freelancers at?
Or like chunky bubble artists. Are there any of those out here tonight? You're lying. I'm the only one.
All right, I'm not going to defend this point anymore.
Good. Because you're losing.
All I'm saying is that were I hiring a skywriter,
Right.
I would hire him on the 15th because I know a lot of people get paid then. They would hire me that day. They go,
good.
oh, I have a lot of money in my pocket.
Right. Good plan.
When do you do it?
I hire skywriters around the times when children's birthdays are most likely to occur.
When would that be? Like
Days of the week. And is it me or is it him?
I would also hire a skywriter on November 14th.
Yeah, because their parents fucked on Valentine's.
She gets it.
Great.
Maybe a week before so they could plan it. So you get hired by these parties.
Yeah.
You step out on stage.
Yeah, I go in their backyard, their living room, wherever they decide to shuttle me off to.
Shuttle you off. You're the main
Why
attraction.
don't they have a proper stage for an artist of my caliber?
No one has a proper stage. This place barely has a proper stage.
Uh-oh, someone's gonna write a blog about you. You better be careful. Got the giggles.
So you come out. You come out on not
I'm
on.
poorly introduced by one of the parents every single time.
What do they do? They mess up your name or they?
They mess up everything. They don't know how to be in show business.
Can you show us how they introduce you?
Yeah. They're like, everybody settle down, settle down, settle down. Jordan, put that down. Brinkley, no.
Brinkley?
Yeah. Meyer, Briggs, stop that right now. And they make all the kids sit down. They're yelling at him to the point of crying. That's not helping me much. Then they say, all right, here's the entertainment, everybody. Very special. He's going to make bubbles. They don't even say my name, Big Chunky Bubbles.
And they don't say that you're going to make it out of soup either.
No! They should prepare the kids for that.
All right. So once you're introduced, then, what does your act consist of? You have big terrains of soup?
Terrains? Do you mean terrines?
That's my accent coming through.
Oh. Sorry. I didn't know you were one of the lads from Liverpool or whatever. I do have big terrines of soup, a couple crock pots of stew.
So it's hot?
Yeah, piping hot.
How big are the bubbles that you're making?
Well, they range in size. That's what makes it a show.
Okay, I'm not suggesting that every bubble is the exact same size. Give me a range. Don't be so exasperated with me. I'm interested in you.
Well, thank you for that. Not a lot of people are.
I know.
Are you in
How
a
do you know?
Because of the way you're fucking talking to me.
Hey, watch your language. I'm a children's entertainer, and there's a child here. What were you going to say?
How did all that soup just fall out of your mouth while you were talking?
I keep deposits of soup in my cheeks just in case I get booked for a last-minute gig.
Well, I was going to ask you, are you in a relationship, sir?
Not anymore.
Oh, no.
It's very sad.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I asked.
You had a wife or a girlfriend?
I had a wife. Well, first she was my girlfriend. Then she became my wife.
I'm not
So I've had both.
What was she before she was your girlfriend?
A lady I met.
And before that?
Someone's child.
And before that?
Well, just a baby waiting to be born in heaven, I suppose.
So she went from being someone's child to then being a lady you met?
Yeah.
In the space of how long?
Well, how long it takes for a young lady to start out on her own and leave the nest.
But so she was never just a lady who didn't know you? She only became a lady when you met her?
Did you meet her on her 18th birthday?
Hey! You guys ask some weird questions and I answer them to the best of my ability. What is this, Meet the Press with Chuck Todd?
Okay, I'm sorry.
So what happened to her?
She died.
Oh, no. Do you know how?
Yeah. It was a terrible bubble accident.
What happened?
One of my terrines was too hot, and I was showing her a new bubble trick where I was going to make a square bubble out of some Campbell's chunky soup. Well, she was too close because she was always very supportive, and she wanted to be right up center stage watching the action. And it scalded her face so bad it went right through to the brain. That was some hot soup. I'll always feel bad about it, like William Burroughs.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you, that sounds sincere.
I'm really
was.
sorry.
I'm so sorry.
So sorry, sir. Gee, I'm sorry.
That sounds sincere, thank you.
Why do you? Okay. Look,
I call him like I see him.
do you have any? Did you have any kids with her, or?
Yeah, I got 3 kids.
3 kids?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, Sesame Street. Your kids murdered my brother.
No, I don't think that.
think so.
No.
Oh, okay.
So you have 3 kids. That must be difficult to raise them without their mother.
It's the worst. I can't stand them.
You don't
What are
like
they
your
like?
kids.
No, they're very disrespectful. There's twins, and then there's the one extra one.
Was the extra one born first or last? Or?
Last.
Oh, yeah.
And it was sort of like, oh, one more of these?
And what are their names?
The twins are named Bobby and Robbie.
Why? That's very confusing.
Why? What do you mean?
Well, Robbie is...
Yeah, Robbie.
They're both short for Robert.
What? Since when? That's not their names are Robbie and Bobby. Neither one of them is named Robert.
All right.
Well, you're making me upset.
What?
You're asking some very tough questions.
You're getting upset. I'm not making you upset.
Fair enough, I guess. You've been to therapy.
What's your other kid's name?
Tag. He's the worst. 8 years old. I can't stand him.
And how old are your twins?
They're 12.
Yeah. And what's Tag's problem? And why would you call him Tag?
Because he was like extra.
Like a skin tag?
Yeah, that's how I think of him.
That's so sad for him.
No, is it? He has a pretty good life.
Why is that?
Well, I provide for him.
Does he have a race car bed?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he does.
Lucky?
It's sponsored by Dale Unser.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it
It's the
actually drive?
No, it doesn't drive. What's unusual is a race car to be sponsored by a driver. That never happens. Usually the cars have corporate sponsorship, not the sponsorship of a sole driver. I give this guy everything.
What kind of mattress is on his race car bed?
I'm glad you asked, because I spared no expense.
Well, although, did you spend a lot of money on the mattress?
Well, truth be told, it was very reasonable. But it's a top-of-the-line mattress. 3 layers of cooling comfort.
3 layers?
Yeah.
Three layers of cooling comfort. 1, 2, 3. My brother's dead inside a mattress.
Well, that reminds me, if you want to be dead inside a mattress, our tour sponsor, Lisa Mattresses, thanks to them very much. But let me ask you, Big Chunky Bubbles. By the way, do you have a regular name, or is that your stage name?
I do have a regular name, of course. I wasn't born Big Chunky Bubbles.
Ew.
What?
I just pictured you coming out inside of a big chunky bubble.
Well, I did. But that's not my name. That's not my name.
That's not my name.
All right, Ting Tings.
I do have a regular name.
What's your regular name?
People don't like it.
Hit me with it.
Petey Amin.
Like Edie Amin? But
No! Now you put that association in people's minds.
It's one word?
No, it's not one. Don't you know how names work, you dumb kid?
No, I don't. Teach me, sir.
Well, don't you have a first name and a last name?
Yeah, so?
So do I.
I get it now.
That was easier than I thought. You're smarter on the uptake than Tag.
Well, I mean, you must be a very successful children's entertainer.
No, I'm not.
Why not? I mean, you sound like you have a very unique act.
I do, but the parents all get upset because my act is so much messier than regular bubble performers.
When it pops, it just scalds all of the
Yeah, it's a
children.
bunch of soup.
Yeah.
It makes a mess even if kids aren't scalded. I always make sure the kids are far enough away they won't get burned by the piping hot soup bubbles.
How far away do they have to be?
Well, like a good 30, 40 feet.
Can they even hear your show?
No. I mean, they say they can't, but I'm good at projecting my voice.
Are you?
Yeah. Well, you doubt it?
Also, you were saying.
I'll say to the kids, all right, here we go. You ever seen a bubble inside a bubble? And then they start like saying something like, shut up. I wasn't finished. You ever seen a bubble inside a bubble made of soup?
Does every one of your questions end with made of soup?
A lot of them do. Some end with made of stew.
So is your whole show just asking if anyone's ever seen a bubble made of soup and then you make a bubble with soup?
I feel like that's very reductive.
Well, I'm having a birthday soon and I want to know what your show's all about.
Well, I make the bubbles, of course, but I also have a lot of fun. Hey, why is everybody ducking under when they go back to their seat like there's a helicopter in here? It's very distracting. There's not a helicopter in here, is there? It's like an episode of MASH.
Well, Murphy, you have a birthday coming up. You're having a birthday party in the afternoon sometime on a Saturday afternoon, or when are you having
Yeah,
it?
I'll probably have it on a Saturday afternoon after payday.
Looks like my skywriting worked. Okay, let me walk you through the show.
Okay.
Here's what it is. I get the terrible introduction from the parents.
Well, from her dad, probably.
Well, yeah, he's in the TV and he probably won't talk to you. Most people can't hear him except me and my brother.
Did you say he's in the TV?
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole thing.
Have you ever seen?
boy.
Have you ever seen the cartoon of the old prospector?
I guess I have.
That's my daddy.
You seem troubled. It's just like Robbie, who's always like, I can feel another skeleton inside me.
Other than his own?
Well, they were supposed to be triplets. That's what the doctor told us, and then when they came out, they were just twins. We were like, I guess he was wrong. But every once in a while, Robbie says, oh, the base of my neck, the base of my neck. It's like someone's trying to scream. And I'm like, can't I read the paper in peace?
New York Times?
The Daily News.
You sing it.
Is that your favorite song?
I love that song. New York State of Mind by Billy Joel.
Oh, so good. The Daily News.
Some folks like to get away.
Oh, you have a beautiful voice.
Thank you. I sing at the end of my show.
You do?
Yeah.
What do you sing?
I give these kids a good show.
What do you sing?
I
What
sing
song?
a song of my own composition.
Would you sing a little bit for us
I'd
right
love
now?
to. Sure. I'd love to do my act for free again. I close my show. Here's the thing. I'll walk you through the show. I come out, terrible introduction from the parents. Okay, shut up, get out of here. I say to the kids, move back, move back. I turn off the sterno, and I get my wand, and I say, all right. Who here's seen bubbles before? And everybody's like, me. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. It's a rhetorical question. They don't know what that means. Do you know what rhetorical means?
You're not supposed to answer it.
Oh, look at this. Go to the head of the class, child.
Wait, was that a rhetorical question?
No.
Good.
So you don't know what one is?
I'm confused.
I was genuinely asking if she knew what a rhetorical question was, then she answered it,
Yes.
so it wasn't a rhetorical question.
Exactly, I get it.
That was a good lesson.
You guys are driving me crazy. So then I take my wand, I dip it in a tureen.
You use a bubble stick?
Yeah, that's the wand.
Okay.
What's it shaped like on the end?
What a strange question.
I know a wizard who'd want to know.
It's just round for
That'd
bubbles.
probably be better for him.
Anyway, go on.
Thanks. So I dip it in some soup.
What flavor is the soup, by the way? We haven't talked about that.
Most of it's beef stock. Every once in a while it'll be an alphabet soup. Very rarely it'll be a gazpacho.
You should use gazpacho more.
The bubbles aren't as good. So dip it in there. As they're waving it around, the bubbles start forming. I got smaller wands that I dip into a stew, and then I make smaller bubbles to go into the other bubbles. Now, sometimes I'll pull out a cigarette to blow smoke into the bubbles. That's when the parents go crazy. And I'm like, it's herbal, relax. Then I do all the bubbles. These stupid kids are like, so what? I want to play video games. And then I close with my song.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You forgot about my song.
I was so into the show.
Could you see it in your mind?
Yeah, I love those stinky bubbles.
Makes the kids hungry, then they eat all their cake.
Wait, you're trying to get them to eat cake?
Like, that's a problem?
It's a birthday party.
Yeah, but I've never known a party of kids who didn't want to eat their cake.
Results speak for themselves.
Okay, I don't know that you're having any effect
After my
on this.
show, those kids eat that cake. Case closed. So I close with my song. Your life is just beginning. Now you've seen my show. The road ahead of sinning will send you down below.
Oh, boy. Oh.
All of you are doomed. All of you are doomed. I hope you liked my show. Yeah.
An important theological message there.
Well, I mean, I'm not particularly religious. It's more of a metaphorical thing.
Really?
Well, these kids are jerks. I don't like them.
All right, well, thank you, Big Chunky Bubbles. Big Chunky Bubbles here.
Big Chunky Bubbles maybe dislikes me more than any of the others.
He's a very unpleasant guy.
He doesn't like anybody,
doesn't like
so I shouldn't
anybody.
take it personally.
You
the other
should
ones
not-
the other ones I do.
Don't take it personally. Yeah, I understand. But he's an unpleasant guy.
Unpleasant guy. Montreal. This is Montreal.
This was the first of the shows where it was very difficult to hear anyone else on stage.
That's right. We had a couple of these over the entire tour where it was very difficult to hear, and this one, it is a testament to how funny everyone is that we cannot hear each other at all.
Yeah.
None of us.
Unless someone's face was pointed directly at you.
Which is not the case when you're performing. You don't want to see a
Yes.
bunch of people in profile looking directly at each other.
No, because we're all vain.
Vainglorious.
Vainglorious Popinjays.
But it is a testament to how funny this episode is and how much people liked it, that even though we couldn't hear each other, the recording of it is very funny.
He is a children's entertainer. Please welcome Big Chunky Bubbles. Big Chunky Bubbles.
Hello.
Big Chunky Bubbles, so great to see you again. What a warm welcome.
Yeah, thanks, I guess.
Something going on with that chair.
These stools are weird.
It's almost like Wonder Woman's invisible jet. I don't know
Yeah.
whether we are sitting on stools or whether we're levitating.
I know I'm sitting on something that feels like it's about to collapse.
Is it perhaps your anus?
What kind of a start is that to an interview? Way to go, Charlie Rose.
Big Chunky...
You're no Nardwuar. Local reference. You pick these things up in the biz, the entertainment business. You want to know about the entertainment business? I'm happy to tell you.
Sure. I mean, what can you tell me about...
I'm implying you're not in it. That's the reason I asked that
I understand
question.
now. I understand now.
Being sarcastic. Oh, can people hear me better now? Because I can hear myself better now.
Big Chunky Bubbles, you're frowning a lot. It seems like your whole aesthetic is a frown.
My whole aesthetic is a frown. You're very rude. What a terrible thing to say. Stop. You're literally upstaging me. I'll go all the way back, brother. I don't care. I'll go right to the edge.
Right to the white safety line.
That's right.
Let's go on, Bill. Let's go on.
Yeah, all right.
Big Chunky Bubbles.
Yeah. That's my name. My stage name.
What is your... Did we talk about your real name?
Yeah.
Your Christian name.
Let's not drag religion into this.
Are you not a religious person? Are you an atheist?
I'm not an atheist. I'm agnostic, I guess. I don't know what's going to happen when we leave this world, but I bet it's not great. More of the same, probably. That's what God will be like. Surprise! It's no different up here, except everyone's wearing white or whatever.
And white is not slimming, so...
Why'd you mention that?
I'm just saying it's not a good color for certain of us.
Uh-huh. You're saying certain colors aren't good? I hope the internet doesn't get a hold of that.
Okay. All right.
You
Big
heard it
Chunky
here
Bubbles.
first, folks.
No, that's not.
Scott Aukerman says only white is good.
I think I said the opposite.
Too late, it's out there now.
Oh, no. Big Chunky Bubbles,
Yeah.
your name and your voice sort of implies that you're a man who is more generously proportioned, but is that so?
I'm just a regular guy. I'm called Big Chunky Bubbles because that's what I do. I'm a children's entertainer. I'm a bubble artist. I go to kids' parties and I make big chunky bubbles. Anybody can make regular bubbles out of soap, too. But I make bubbles out of soups, stews, and chowders. They're big chunky bubbles.
Now, we talked about this a little bit before. You're making them out of hot soups.
Piping hot soups. That's right. Is anyone else doing that? I don't think so. I'm one of a kind.
There may be a reason for that, mainly because...
Cowardice, artistic cowardice. That's a good reason.
you're right that most artists are afraid to create big piping hot bubbles
cowards.
that then pop onto the audience, scalding them all.
Listen, they don't just pop onto the audience, they pop onto me too.
I was going to say, you have, what looks to be third-degree burns all over your body.
I may have a system of burn scars all over my face. So...
It's something I wouldn't normally talk about with a guest because,
Oh, wouldn't you? I get the sense that's exactly what you would talk about.
The only reason...
So you're saying if someone else had multiple burn scars on their face, you wouldn't mention it if they had a different job?
I mean, maybe if Freddy Krueger, who that ties so into his origin, I would maybe bring it up with him.
Yeah, if you interviewed that fake person, get real. You can't interview made-up people. It's impossible. This is
You're
real
right, you're
life.
right. I'm sorry.
Apology accepted for now.
The only reason I bring it up, Big Chunky Bubbles, is because your very job and your whole artistic thing is the reason for these scars, and it seems to me it
How do you know?
True enough.
Maybe I got scarred up when I was a little kid.
And so doing these piping hot bubbles, then no harm, no foul?
That's how you greet the news of a childhood trauma.
Tell me what happened then. Is
Well,
this
nothing.
true?
I didn't get scarred up when I was a kid.
That's
it's
what I'm
from the
saying.
bubbles. Well, but you assumed, and that made me mad.
I don't know that I can win with you.
You can't. I'm very upset. I'm sorry if I come across a little tetchy.
It's okay. What are you upset about? I mean, is there...
I got a bad review.
You got a bad review.
Yeah. What? I'm up here because of the JFL Kids Festival. It's not affiliated with this festival. It's just a coincidence.
Wait, is it held here in Montreal?
Yeah. Same time as JFL Festival.
What does the JFL stand for?
Just for likes. It's just stuff you like to do.
And also liking it on like Twitter and Instagram as well?
If you wish.
So the Just for Likes kids.
That's right.
Why do they delineate between kids and if there is no adult?
It's what kids like, so you know what it is. It's just for likes, parentheses, kids, close parentheses. So it's not things that adults like, it's children's entertainment. This is all very simple.
So you're saying that adults do not like your entertainment?
It's not for them is what I'm saying. You're trying to get me to admit something terrible.
No. It's like the new Ghostbusters. It's not for adults.
As opposed to the old Ghostbusters where people were in the audience wearing ascots and swirling brandy, watching Dan Aykroyd dream about getting a blowjob from a ghost.
I was disappointed they didn't remake that scene.
I'll bet you were, you creep. I bet that's all you were thinking about the whole time.
Just
Here it
Kristen
comes, here
Wiig
it
just like
comes.
spreading it and getting it from a ghost.
It would be the Melissa McCarthy character if you want to do a one-to-one.
That's true.
Anyway.
Oh, you don't want to talk about Ghostbusters anymore?
It's not exactly what I came here to talk about.
You got a poor review.
Yes, just for laughs, kids.
Likes,
kids.
It's easy to get confused.
It is easy to get confused, and I just proved it. Just for Likes, kids, is a festival where a bunch of kids who have the same birthday, they all get together and have a big, giant birthday party.
Is it held 365 days a year?
No! So if your birthday is any month other than this, you're out of luck.
Okay. So it's all month during July.
It's a month-long festival of
And
children's
my birthday is in
entertainment.
July.
Who cares? What do you want me to do? rush out to buy you a gift while I'm sitting here in the middle of an interview.
Oh, I'm sorry, Big Chunky Bubbles. I'm sorry.
You don't have to call me Big Chunky Bubbles the whole time. You can call me by my regular name.
What is that again?
Petey Amin.
Petey Amin.
Yeah.
I'll stick with Big Chunky Bubbles,
All
probably.
right.
BCB, maybe?
If you like.
Okay. BCB. Oh, BCB.
You're saying it like it's a fake word. Mm-hmm. Fun.
For a real person. So it's a festival for children's
Children's birthday parties.
Okay.
And so all kinds of children's entertainers get together, including me. This year I got to do my first shot at the Just for Likes Kids Festival.
What other performers were there? I mean, what company were you in?
Oh, magicians, balloon guys, they're the worst. That squeaking, who can stand it? They're twisting the balloons together? Why not have a guy just write with a fresh Sharpie?
And draw the balloons, is what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm saying the noise is
I get
annoying.
it. Oh, I understand now.
You thought I was suggesting it would be an easy shortcut for a guy to just draw balloon animals?
I don't know.
You sure don't.
So it's a group of esteemed entertainers and yourself.
That's right.
And
hey, I caught that.
And you, what time was your performance? Was it 12:30 in the afternoon?
11 a.m.
11 a.m.
Oh, I wish I got the coveted 12:30 spot. A guy can
9:30
dream,
a.m. by
I guess.
my internal clock.
Oh, sure.
So
You know, the jet lag really hitting you hard, huh? Oh, boy. Can you imagine being awake at 9:30 a.m.? This guy.
So you performed at 11 a.m. and describe your act. What did you do?
Well, I tell you what. Let me read this review.
Oh, okay.
Because it's described in there. I hate this guy. His name is, he's a children's theater critic.
Very popular section of the newspaper.
Everything you say is mean. His name is Guy Lachance.
Guy Lachance.
Guy Lachance, did I stutter?
Merely repeating it so people can understand it a little better.
Is this show for parrots? Some people know what I'm talking about. Parents would like to listen to a show where things are repeated over and over again.
You really covered the room in that.
I did. It's what they're famous for.
You're like a sprinkler of comedy all across.
Oh, you're really on fire today.
I need that sprinkler of comedy. Dousing everything, dampening it.
I'm tuning you out. Okay, here's what this no-talent hack wrote about my show. On Thursday, I had the great misfortune to attend one of the most horrifically irresponsible attempts at children's entertainment I have ever seen in a long career of reviewing the arts. That's the beginning. Why did he bother going on and writing the rest of the thing?
Well, he has to let people know who you are.
And boy, does he in the next paragraph. Big Chunky Bubbles, real name Petey Amin. Why does he have to do that? An American bubble artist, and please know I use the word artist solely as an occupational descriptor and not as a term of respect. What did I ever do to this guy?
A shitty performance?
Hey! It's not fair. They should get a kid to review the show. He spent a good 5 to 7 minutes at the beginning of his performance telling the children, put performance in quotes, how do you like that? telling the children to be quiet and pay attention using broken French and German. Now look, I was trying to be respectful because I'm in a foreign country, and a big part of my show is getting the kids to shut up and settle down. So I was saying things like, ferme the bouche, right? And then I was saying, Achtung, because I don't know. It's European.
Because I don't know.
I'm trying here, man.
Okay.
When the children will not respond in a manner he deemed timely, Mr. Bubbles turned his back to his audience of 6-year-olds and pouted, now you get the Miles Davis treatment. Now look, that's true, and I stand by it. It's a very effective tactic to get kids to pay attention.
What is the Miles Davis treatment?
I turn my back and I do my act, and the kids can't see it. He then presumably made some bubbles from a hot tureen of New England clam chowder. I say presumably as I only caught the merest glimpse of steaming bubbles rising just above Mr. Bubbles' head. By the way, he keeps calling me Mr. Bubbles. He's going to get sued by the bubble bath maker.
That's
if it's still a thing. I don't know if Mr. Bubble is still a thing or not. I hope it is, and I hope they sue the pants off Guy Lachance.
Seems like they would sue you.
Yeah, steaming bubbles rising. I don't call myself Mr. Bubbles. I'm Big Chunky Bubbles. Anyway, I only got the merest glimpse of steaming bubbles rising just above Mr. Bubbles' head before they popped and sprayed him with a scalding soup, causing him to swear in a fashion not unlike that of a cartoon dog. You know what drives me crazy? Guys who write things like, not unlike. What are you talking? Just say it's like something. Why do I have to do all that reading work?
It's like 6 extra letters.
Yeah,
5.
You're on my side now.
Yeah, but you were swearing like a cartoon dog?
Look, it hurts to get sprayed with hot clam chowder.
Do you also have bits of clam and is it New England or is it?
I believe it's New England clam chowder.
Okay. Do you have bits of clam that fall on you when you perform?
Maybe, I don't know.
You don't spend the entire after show picking out chunks of food off of you?
It's not like a landmine went off. You just take a towel and wipe it off your face. What do you think, I got clam shells sticking out of my cheekbone?
I don't know.
Maybe you don't know much about chowder is the problem. He goes on. The foul language served as the high point of Mr. Bubbles' set. Hearing the laughter of the children, the gentleman turned around to face his audience, grumbling, "Oh, look who's paying attention now." That's not what I said.
What did you say?
I said, "Oh, now you're paying attention." He then told the children they should feel very grateful to be seeing what was to come next, a special treat just for the children of Montreal, even though they, quote, don't deserve any special treats after their rude and immature attitudes, end quote. I did say that. At this point, Mr. Bubbles removed the cover from a saucepan, a great cloud of steam rising up from its contents, and momentarily blinding him. More cartoon cursing briefly ensued. When he regained what passed for his composure, Mr. Bubbles announced he would now, for the first time, make bubbles from poutine gravy. When the children, rightfully, seemed underwhelmed, well, they should talk to this audience. Mr. Bubbles lectured them on the laborious process of extracting the cheese curds from the gravy to achieve the purest bubble, and how he wasn't even able to eat the French fries because of doctor's orders, so that's that food wasted.
Why did you have to go into such detail? You could have just blown the bubble.
It's called stage patter. You think David Copperfield's just like, oh, I made the Statue of Liberty disappear. Sorry, I didn't give you any warning. He has a whole thing about America and liberty and such.
Stage patter is what pads the show to make it longer.
I wish I had the time to properly educate you on the art of performing, but I don't.
I could use
What do you
it.
mean it makes the show? So you think like somebody
Well,
in Las Vegas doing a Vegas act without the talking, they would just rush right through. The act would be 5 minutes long.
yeah, it'd be like 5 minutes long. They do 5 tricks. No dancing. Do you do dancing when you're like? Are you up there dancing around with the?
I mean, if the bubbles burst on my face, I move around quite a bit. Mr. Bubbles then, to his credit, proceeded to create one impossibly perfect and somewhat chunky poutine bubble. It was very chunky. It glistened, large and opaque in the sunlight streaming through the sitting room window before bursting in Mr. Bubbles' eyes, causing him to scream and kick over the large pot of gravy. It rolled like an ocean of lava at the children, who ran screaming from the oncoming tide of scalding meat leavings. 2 children were burned badly enough on the soles of their feet that a trip to the hospital was considered but thankfully deemed unnecessary. I gathered up my things. Oh, he inserts himself in the narrative. I gathered up my things and left, overhearing on my way out the beginnings of what I have no doubt ended up being a protracted argument about payment. It wasn't that long.
How long exactly did you argue with the?
There was 2 exchanges, and then eventually I realized I wasn't going to get paid. It is, here, he winds it up. Wait till you get a load of this. It is this reviewer's opinion that Mr. Chunky Bubbles leave the entertainment industry and find some occupation more suited to his talents and temperament, such as murder victim. Well, that's a threat. He just threatened me. He said I should get a job as a murder victim.
It's the kind of job you can only do once, so I hope you get paid well for it.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
That's a
wow,
tough review.
Indeed. Yeah, have you ever gotten a bad review?
No, I can't really think of a one.
Well, what time does this show end?
All right. Well, Big Chunky Bubbles, I feel bad for you. Not a little bit. I wish one of these times you would come and actually do the bubbles for us.
Well, this isn't an audience of children. It would be weird.
If I get an audience of children, do you promise?
Yeah, I do. If you get an audience of kids and parents who will allow their kids to come to a recording of this particular program, they gotta be 6 years old.
And how many in the audience?
No, it's gotta be 500.
500.
I gotta make my money.
All right, I'll do that. That's a challenge. I like a challenge. I actually do want to do this. You will physically perform the bubbles.
Of course I will. I'll make big chunky bubbles.
All right, Big Chunky Bubbles, everyone.
This is going to be an episode with our friend Tatiana Maslany, Kristen Brun, Mary Holland, and myself.
You nailed it. That's right. Episode 446 on September 19th, Scrounging and Lounging.
Scrounging and Lounging.
We need to get to our next guest. He's been waiting very patiently.
Yeah.
He is an entertainer by trade.
That's right.
And his passions lie within the arts.
Yeah.
He is You're not a magician.
No! We've been over this many times.
I know, but I'm just refreshing my own memory. You're
that seems polite.
You're a children's entertainer.
Yeah.
Although adults are welcome.
Well, I mean, they're supervising the children.
That would be a weird party if it was just children and you.
Yeah, it sounds like hell.
Yeah. Big Chunky Bubbles is returning with
That's
us.
right.
And you're on the show proper. You've only been on a few of our live episodes.
Yeah. Traveling all around the country doing bubble shows for kids.
You were... go ahead, clear your throat.
My throat got... Speaking of bubbles, I had some bubbles in my throat.
Big Chunky Bubbles, welcome back. It's so good to see you again.
Is it? I don't think you like me very much.
I gotta be honest, you're not my favorite.
What? You admit it.
What, you want me not to admit it when just confronted with it?
Well, lie politely. That's what we do in society. I've told you I don't like those kids, but I don't let them know it.
All right, I'm sorry, Big Chunky. I like you fine. This is...
Now I know you're lying.
Yeah, I know. This is Tatiana, this is
Hi.
Christian,
Hi.
and
Big-
of course, Janice.
Big fan.
Do we call you Big C? Big Chunks?
Big
Chunky?
CB.
You can call me by my real first name.
Big?
No!
Oh, okay.
What kind of lunatic names their child Big Chunky Bubbles? It's obviously my stage name.
What is your real name?
Petey.
Petey. Oh, that's right. Petey.
Petey, I mean. So what?
Petey, I mean, like,
Yeah. Like what?
Well, there's...
there's a.
We all know it. We don't have to say it. Like
Okay.
Edie, I mean.
Okay.
Fine.
Petey.
Yes. What's your name again?
Janice.
Janice Cramp.
And what are you all about?
Pregnant.
Okay.
Now, Petey, is this a penis?
I beg your pardon?
You're just flicking...
Is this a penis?
You're just flicking mine again.
Is this a penis, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, medically, I guess so.
Exactly. So you know nothing about pregnancy.
I never said I did.
Well, you know
although
nothing.
I am the father to 3 children. Robbie,
Oh.
Robbie, Bobby, and Tag.
Tag?
Yes.
Thought you were going to say Tang.
I didn't know
like
that
the
you had
drink.
3 children. We haven't talked
We
about
only talked about it in front of an audience in Portland, Oregon.
that. Uh-oh.
Yeah, thanks for remembering.
Yes,
Oh,
please.
I'm just wondering if the kids are going to follow in your footsteps, do you think?
Ugh. I wish they'd follow in someone else's footsteps and walk away from me. Fatherhood is maybe the least rewarding thing in my life.
How dare you!
Whoa, you slapped me, lady.
You should count yourself lucky to have children. 3 children, that's what I'm expecting.
Well, I don't know about that. You're laugh crying and it's making me very
The
uncomfortable.
hormones, it's the hormones.
You're like crying into your smiling mouth and then you're licking up the tears. And you're like thumbs upping the tears right now. Like, oh, they taste so delicious.
It's a strange display.
How did you get your wife pregnant? What tube sock? Ankle sock?
No, we had penis and vagina sexual intercourse. Why am I being asked these disgusting questions?
Just jackhammering it.
What's wrong with you? My wife has passed away. You know this.
Jesus!
I'm sorry, I
You
forgot.
don't
Scott.
remember anything
What the
about.
hell is wrong with you?
I
Boy, oh
forgot.
boy!
I forgot.
What
I'm
a
sorry.
thing to forget that a man's wife died
How did she pass away
in
again?
a soup accident. I told you this.
Right. I'm sorry.
What a rude host.
I'm sorry. Look, if I kept track of every single detail of every single eccentric
How about
person.
just keep track of whose wife is dead?
Okay.
Limit yourself to that.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Boy, oh boy.
BCB, it's so good to see you.
Yeah.
What are you up to these days? What's happening with you? The last we talked to you in Montreal, you were doing something.
I was in Canada doing the
Oh yeah,
Just
doing
for Kids Festival.
right.
And I tried to do some bubbles involving poutine gravy. And there was a bit of an accident, and I got savagely reviewed for it. So I'll never go back to Canada again.
The
and I
entire
hope I never
country.
meet another Canadian as long as I live. What, Janice? You're Canadian?
No.
No, I'm
Oh,
from
thank God.
Maine.
You're from Maine?
Sure. You have that famous Maine stoicism.
Maine, America's disco pointer.
That's right. Looking at ya.
So you got some beefs with Canada. Huh?
Hold on a second. Let's marinate in that America's disco pointer.
Why
for
do
a
you
second.
gotta?
That's what we have on our bumper sticker.
It looks like John Travolta on the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack.
Yeah,
Keep
yes.
going.
Maine's little finger up
Right.
In that case,
right.
California's the hip, right?
there. Yes, exactly. And Mexico, those sexy legs.
That's right.
What's Texas then? Just
Texas is,
went on down.
You know.
you know what it is.
What's Brazil? Let's go for the whole globe.
Brazil is like underneath the earth.
Great. like my wife is. Thanks a lot.
Sorry.
Thanks for
Sorry.
bringing it up.
I'm not allowed to say
Jesus.
Earth.
Jesus.
How do you keep doing this job knowing your wife died doing what you love?
It's a tribute to her.
Oh, okay.
Also, I don't know how much I love it.
Really?
Well, I mean, I'm good at it for sure, but I can't stand kids. The last thing I want to do is entertain them, reward them for being at the stage of life they're at.
And for those of you who don't have the Howl app and who have not heard Big Chunky Bubbles, you essentially make big bubbles like soap bubbles, but they're made out of soup.
Soups and stews.
Hot piping soups.
That's right.
That then explode over the children.
Well, bubbles pop. That's what they do. No
Leaving-
bubble can stay forever. It has to pop eventually. It's I'm trying to teach these kids a lesson about the impermanence of life.
Really?
Yeah.
They're too young to learn this.
That's why I do it in bubble form, because they absorb it naturally.
They're absorbing the soup into scalding third-degree burns.
Not always.
How often?
If they get too close.
And how often is that?
Roughly 100% of the time. Well, that's the parents' job, is to keep the kids away from the display of the bubble.
Do they know that job? Do you mention that to the parents?
Oh, I wish you could be there for the conversations I have with these stupid parents. I say to them, now listen, keep your kids quiet during the show. I'm an artist. Also, they can't be within 10 feet of the bubbles because the bubbles pop. Got that, genius? I always say it like that.
Okay. So is that what happened to your wife? She got a bit close to you during your act?
My wife, she was there.
My wife.
My wife.
It seems respectful. She was my biggest supporter, and so I was developing some tricks. She was there, and she just got a little bit too close. The bubble was a little bit too large. And
Were you trying to make the biggest bubble that you'd ever...
Yes, I was.
Was this a romantic gesture for her, or was this part of a show?
It was a tribute to her.
Was it a heart bubble?
It was.
And it ended up killing her.
It was a heart bubble made out of New England clam chowder.
Piping hot.
Barf.
So you killed your wife.
Oh, wait, Janice.
I thought you'd like it being from Maine.
Barf.
Also, can I just say, this man has been standing on my toe this entire time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
You almost broke it.
Well, I didn't realize. I wasn't given a chair to sit in for this show. How rude.
All right, here, you can have mine. Here.
Thank you.
There you go. All right.
It's nice and warm.
I'll stand.
Now we're
here.
staring at your penis because you're standing up and you're at
I love
Eye level.
Why don't you put that away?
Why don't they raise the table?
flick it.
Well, you got me there.
So what are you up to now? Obviously, you were up in Canada with those rude Canadians.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
All right.
What? You think they're rude too? I hear you, brother.
I happen to think they're the politest fucking people on the goddamn planet, motherfuckers.
It's weird how rude you're being about.
Yeah, I think I had a bunch of swear words in there, so there's one each for those kids.
What makes you say such a ludicrous thing?
I'm Canadian.
What?
And I'm Canadian.
We're Canadian.
The two of you together are Canadian?
Yeah, also separate.
Yeah.
What? Individually as well?
Yes.
We can hold it as a unit and separately.
Yeah, we can separate our units.
Well, try to teach your children to be more polite at parties and also not get too close to scalding hot bubbles.
Can I?
That's fair.
All right.
Okay.
What?
Why are you talking in one big grunt?
It's just the sound of my voice.
But it almost sounds like you're trying to get every sentence out into like one long continuous sigh.
You want to know what the issue is? Well, first of all, I'm a bit of a sad sack. I guess that comes through.
Yeah,
Sure.
That's
But
pretty
also, the reason I make soup bubbles in the first place is because I drank scalding hot soup as a child. And so the inside of my throat's all calloused over from the burns. This is as good as it gets as far as I can.
So you're like a really shitty Batman villain, basically. Like the Joker fell into toxic waste and became the
Two-Face,
Joker.
maybe.
Yeah, or
Two-Face.
Two-Face. But you're like Scaldy Throat.
Yeah, but I
Basically.
haven't murdered anyone, so...
You murdered your wife with a fucking soup bubble. You probably killed a bunch of kids.
Christian.
I'm sorry, I'm getting really...
Whoa,
Why hasn't he been charged
Christian,
yet?
we're Canadians.
Christian.
We're Canadians.
Oh,
Christian.
yes, sorry.
We're sorry for your loss.
We're sorry for your loss.
Thank you, I guess. Thank you from the one, but not to the other.
Who are you from? Okay.
Well, I'm looking at you, and I'm
yep.
not thanking
Nope,
you
that's
for
fair.
saying that I murdered my wife.
Which you did.
It certainly was
Now you've said it twice.
it was accidental, though, right?
It was accidental. I loved my wife. I even put up with having those terrible children because she wanted kids.
Right, yeah. So where are the kids now? What are they doing?
They're at home being awful.
A home? When you say a
home or
home,
your
I said home. They're at home.
we both heard a home.
That's what I heard. I heard a
Well,
home.
you seem like reliable sources.
I'll have you know I'm a very reliable source when it comes to childcare.
Oh, really?
That's so.
That's right.
How many kids do you have?
Well,
Stop licking your dog.
Licking her tears. She's letting them fall,
so
but
good.
then licking them.
So good, so good, so good.
At least put the thumbs up down.
So good. Yeah, way to go. So good. I don't have. Well, let me just say this. I'm expecting 3 children, but I've been preparing to have children for 10 years.
Can I save you the trouble? Don't do it.
Too late. I'm 3 months in.
I think she's
Not
going to be
too late.
okay.
Legally, not too late. Right?
Yeah, I think we're still
Still?
under the wire. We're
Yeah.
all right.
Well, we'll see what happens after next year.
Oh, no.
Anyway. What?
Do you want to get into this?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. Who are you supporting in the
Gary Johnson, of course.
Okay.
I was for Jill Stein for a while. Then she said that crazy stuff about vaccinations.
Aren't you a little worried about the Alepo's thing?
What's that?
Okay, never mind. All right.
Let's not get into politics.
All right. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's the third wire of podcasting.
What's the other 2 wires?
Sorry, I meant the third rail.
Yeah, that one makes sense. The third wire.
I'm talking about the third season of The Wire.
Oh, sure.
Of podcasting.
After they got away from the white people.
That's
and
the
they get
best
back.
season.
Yeah, it's when it bounced back.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares about these Polish people and their docks?
So what are you up to now?
Well, I'm trying to branch out from children's entertaining and get into something for adults. Something really meaningful.
Okay.
Still doing soup bubbles, of course.
Oh, okay.
But for adults.
Exactly.
Would you ever do something with freezing soup bubbles?
Would I ever do something with...
I just
Let's try to break this
I
down.
just pictured soup bubbles in the air.
You
kind of
flash
usher
freeze them?
Usher them into a freezer.
Usher them.
Oh, okay.
As some kind of move towards something more permanent.
Uh-huh. Well, since you know all the terms of art, let me ask you, how do I go about ushering these bubbles into a freezer?
You could do it like papier mâché.
A French term.
Paper
Paper
mache.
mache.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
A Canadian
Take a
French term.
balloon, cover it in soup, thick soup, viscous soup,
All
creamy
soup is viscous if it's soup worth its salt.
How much salt?
What about a
is in-
consomme?
A pinch. Don't oversalt your soups, everybody. Let the flavor be its own thing.
So
That's
you,
very
so
good
you not
advice.
only work with soup to make bubbles, but you actually like.
Well, I eat soup, sure. It's food.
Do you cook all your soups that you perform with?
No.
Okay.
I'll cook them in practice, but when I'm doing a performance, I have them professionally cooked by
You
a
want a
chef.
nice professional soup.
Yeah, it's a guy that I've worked with for a long time.
What's his name?
Cookie.
Cookie.
Yeah.
Cookie makes soup?
Cookie makes soup. He's a cook.
Does he say that while he cooks the soup?
That's all he says.
While he's
Cookie
stirring.
makes soup.
makes soup.
That's how I know he's doing it.
Hey,
When he
hey,
stops talking, he's done.
you guys want to come see the shit I took?
No,
It's still in there. Please.
No, we already
Janice.
heard.
Please
God.
come look. It might be the only child I ever had.
You know the baby doesn't come out that part of you.
Baby comes out the front.
Baby comes out the front.
And that's what baby says when he comes out.
That's how we know he's doing
That's
it.
how you know he's
That's
out.
how you know a successful birth has happened. The baby comes out the front. He says, baby comes out the front. And about the champagne, it's time to celebrate.
Oh, well, I can't wait. I can't wait to meet my triplets. Oh, so excited.
Now you're happy. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Now she's crying tears of joy. And she's
so good, so
laughing
good,
them up.
So good, so good, so good.
So, big BCB, what are you doing with the soup now for adults?
Well, I have this show plan that's all about how ridiculous corporate greed has gotten. And so I'm making bubbles in the shape of various corporate logos.
Oh, like what?
Like a Nike swoop.
I think it's a swoosh.
What?
I think it's a swoosh.
Not the one that I made. Wait till you see it. You'll say, look at that swoop. Also, the CNN logo.
Okay.
A Coke can.
Yeah.
It just kind of sounds like you're stealing an idea from someone.
From who? This is.
Did you see?
This is satire as searing as a soup itself.
In 2005, did you see a production of Faux Logo in Toronto that was being done out of a
Why
garage?
does that sound familiar?
Was it a clown piece?
Wait, out of a garage?
It was a garage theater. It was a 50-seat garage
It's
theater.
fucking worse and worse.
Let's see. I was what year was this?
I believe it would be 2005.
2005. I remember my wife had just died. I was grieving. I was
2005, your wife had just died.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your wife's dead?
Still.
Oh.
You were in the room for that part. You weren't pooping at that point.
Oh.
So 2005, your wife just died. How?
Yeah. Stop saying it.
It almost rhymes.
I remember. Yeah, almost. Not quite.
But how old are your children again?
Why do you want to know?
Just because I
Do
feel
you
like
remember them all of a sudden?
Just because I feel like we previously established how old they were, and your wife has been dead for 11 years.
They might have been had by someone else.
No,
Well,
he said that she had them.
It's true. Wait a second.
After she died?
Hold on.
Was it
Hold up.
post-death?
Full disclosure.
All right, what's happening
Full
here?
disclosure.
Yeah.
My wife began dying in 2005.
Oh, I see. Okay. got it.
She got pregnant in 2009.
Okay. Oh, that seems like poor timing if you know she's dying.
Yeah, well, that's why having kids was so important. She had the twins, Robbie and Bobby, and then 3 years after that, she had the boy we named Tag.
Okay, yeah, got it.
And then she died.
Then she died in 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's still pretty fresh. But in 2005, I realized she was dying from her wounds.
Her wounds?
Inflicted by the bubble that burst.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a long, slow process.
So these are just festering for a decade almost.
Yeah, so I said, honey, I need to take some time with this. And I went on a tour, a walkabout, kind of.
Okay.
And I was seeing as much theater as I could.
As much experimental garage theater.
That's right. I traveled the world over. And I remember being in Toronto around 2005. Let's see, what did I see there? I remember being in a small venue, not many people in attendance. I mean, it didn't hold that many people to begin with, but not that many people showed up. Let's see. Bunch of doofuses got a... Wait a minute. You look familiar to me.
Yeah, I was playing CNN.
You were CNN?
I was the giant microphone.
Oh boy, the weakest link in the whole thing. Who played that swoop? That's one to watch.
Alistair Forbes.
Oh, I gotta remember that name.
A fantastic comedian in Toronto, Alistair Forbes. And Luke Davies played the can of Coke.
He was all right. I mean, he was game, but it was an uninspired performance.
Right, yeah.
Wow.
Did you see it pre or post when I broke my foot? Because then I had a cane for the rest of the show.
Oh, because you broke your foot? I thought that was a stylistic choice.
You saw the one that he actually broke his foot?
Well, I saw you did it with a cane, and I thought,
that would be afterwards, yeah.
What's this all about? Why does the microphone have a cane?
Who's this guy? Prime Minister Pete Nice? What's going on here?
It's exactly what I thought.
I thought so. Well, it's 95. It just stands to reason you would think that.
I remember.
Sorry, 2005. Never mind. A little late.
I leaned over to the person next to me, which was 5-6 seats away because hardly anyone was there.
Right.
And I said, "Who's this guy think he is? Prime Minister Pete Nice?" And then I was shushed
By whom?
I heard that. I remember that.
the person playing the Rogers Wireless logo.
Gosh. So you remember the show. Why are you stealing their idea?
Well, because I forgot about the show, didn't I?
Okay,
And now
okay.
I'm remembering that I saw it, and now my whole plan is finished. I can't do it now. It's been done.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry that we came up with that brilliant idea
You're
before
what?
you. I'm sorry we came
You're
up with
what?
I'm sorry.
There we go.
That we
That's
came up
better.
with.
All right.
I've trained it out, okay? I trained it out. That's how you guys pronounce that, right?
Ouch.
Out. Out.
I'm going to fit in here.
So, BCV, I'm so sorry about this, but I feel like it's back to the drawing board, both literal and figurative.
Yeah, I'll have to go back to a literal drawing board.
That's how you plan your act, I would assume.
Of course, I storyboard the whole thing. The only problem is in my storyboards that children are polite and know their place.
Wow. I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry.
I doubt your sincerity.
But I love hearing you come back to the show with your various schemes and
Dreams,
sure.
schemes, and dreams.
Scrounging and lounging.
Scrounging, lounging, that's all you seem to do.
And this is an episode called Liquid Meal Spheres.
This sounds familiar to me.
And this episode has Gillian Jacobs and Paul Rust. Prust, as we call him. We need to get to our next guest. He is a children's entertainer of note.
Yeah.
And returning to the program after...
Under duress.
I'm sorry. No one's forcing you to be here, right? Or
Well, I'm waiting for the big shows to call me.
what? How did this get made?
What's that?
What do you cereal? You want cereal to do
Yeah, why
an episode
not?
about you?
Would it kill them to pick up the phone?
You would have to kill someone for them to pick up the phone.
I wish.
Anyway,
If it were legal, I'd do it all the time.
kill someone?
Yeah.
I don't think the human mind could really comprehend or come to grips with killing people all the time.
You
don't
know,
you think?
you just got up to the top of my list.
Oh no.
Just to end that sentence you were trying to say.
Jesus. All right. He is a children's entertainer. He
Yeah.
works primarily in the soup bubble
I work
realm.
exclusively in the soup bubble realm. I make bubbles.
And, and
Go on.
his name actually, speaking
My
of bubbles.
stage name.
Stage name. Have we talked about your real name?
Yes.
What is it again?
Ugh, you make me say it every time.
Please do.
Petey Amin.
All right. Petey Amin, a.k.a. Big Chunky Bubbles.
That's
is here.
right. I'm a children's entertainer. I make bubbles out of soup, and they're big chunky bubbles. And I call myself Big Chunky Bubbles.
Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank you. That seems sincere. Oh, applause.
We love you, Big Chunky.
Thank you, stranger. Are you a child?
My.
This better be worth it.
My uncle dropped me off.
Worth it. I think worth it.
Worth it.
Big Chunky or Mr. Bubbles. How am I supposed to
You
address
can't call me Mr. Bubbles. That's copyrighted
All right.
by those soap people.
Should I just call you Petey?
Yeah, I guess.
Petey, it's so good to see you again.
Yeah, I'll bet it is.
You take Gillian and Paul here through a little bit of your history. You, of course, are a children's entertainer who you've seen soap bubble entertainers, haven't you?
Yeah.
Boring.
They're boring, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little boring.
Any old bath can make soap bubbles. You make
Anyone-
them by accident.
Yeah.
Where's the artistry?
If you fart in a hot tub, you make bubbles.
There you go.
I'm not sure if you're proving his point or disproving it. I'm not sure.
I think she's proving it.
Okay.
Proving.
Very well said.
Thank you.
If you're two chimps and you have a baby and you sell it to one of the world's singing superstars, you made some bubbles too.
If you're
A bubble.
if you're two chimps. So anyone listening, if you happen to be two chimps,
In the past.
yeah. Oh, do you think Bubbles' parents are still alive?
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, they must be
Gosh.
proud.
Did Bubbles outlive Michael Jackson? Does anyone know?
I don't think
did.
no, but I think
Take it
no,
to
I think
the
Bubbles.
internet.
I believe Bubbles is dead.
Oh, really? I saw a documentary where LaToya visited Bubbles.
Oh, really?
But I don't know if it was pre or post.
But she visited him at his house?
Did Michael
Or
Jackson...
was he at work?
He was at a zoo. It was sad.
It would be really sad for Bubbles to go from this wonderful life of living with Michael Jackson in a palace, all that you really, everything that's expected
Everything
of you.
monkeys want.
Yeah, monkeys really like the rich life.
But really, the only thing that's expected of you that's kind of a bummer is you have to watch Michael Jackson doing these weird things to people. But, other than that, it's like a great life, right?
Well, you know that song, The Way You Make Me Feel? That was inspired by Bubbles.
Really?
Because Bubbles was, he's a chimp, so he's eating a lot of bananas. And he's just throwing the refuse around.
Sure.
And Michael Jackson was walking by, and then he slipped, and he went, I slipped on a banana peel. And he was like,
Wait a minute,
that's got a hook to it. That's got a real stanky hook.
Slipped on a banana peel. Hoo!
Am I here as a prank?
It knocked me off of my feet.
Now, baby. Yeah. So then he loved the tune and he loved the rhyme.
Why is this still happening?
This thing I thought of in first grade.
Did you ever, but serious question. If Al Yankovic had come out with a song, I slipped on a banana peel, would you have lost your mind?
I would have called up the old lawyers and 3 words, Scott. Litigate, courtroom.
That's where you do it.
Yeah, that's where I would do it.
So now, Big Chunky Bubbles,
Yeah, hi, still here.
you basically take big vats of
It's
soup.
very simple. I use various tureens of soup, stews, and chowders. And using my bubble wand, I make very complex, intricate bubbles that are big and chunky.
Are the chunks inside the bubbles or on the exterior of the bubble?
Both.
Wow.
Is there? By the way, what's your favorite chowder?
New England clam.
So by the end of the party, is there just a film of soup on the floor?
Yes, it's very slick and dangerous.
And these are hot soups as well.
They're piping hot. It makes the best bubbles.
Right.
Where do you do these outdoors?
Children's parties.
Children's parties.
I should do them outdoors. I don't know why parents don't get the message.
I like it.
Have you ruined furniture and rugs?
Furniture got ruined, but I wouldn't say I ruined it.
But what about yourself? Your own? You get any physical harm?
Look at my arms. They're covered with burns.
Exposed veins.
That's why I wear my tux. Yeah, exposed veins. I burned right through the skin.
Right through the epidermis, right through the dermis.
That's right. Here's my veins. That's why I wear long sleeves.
Hey, it must be easy to get high, though.
Yeah, dude, you just puff a little bit on those veins.
This is one of those
Puff
shows.
on his veins? On his own veins?
That's what you meant.
He meant I could inject myself with heroin.
When did you get this idea for making chunky soup bubbles?
When I was a child, I was fascinated by piping hot soup.
You like to eat it?
No, I like to look at it. My mother was very cross with me. Eat your soup, it's going cold, she would say.
But you didn't want to eat it, or you were just fascinated by the
I
look
wanted
of
to
it.
watch the bubbles for as long as they were around.
How long does it take for a soup to cool?
To where
there are no longer bubbles.
Formed.
Yes. You
Wait,
must know this to the second.
The soup has to be hot to form a bubble?
Killing.
Yes. Have you ever eaten soup before?
No.
You've never eaten soup
You
before.
should try it. From what I understand, it's pretty good.
Why are you telling me to try it? You don't eat it.
Well, that's because of my job.
Well, maybe I'm going to open up a competing soup bubble business.
Really? This is interesting.
I will call it liquid meal spheres.
LMS?
Yep.
Wow.
I gotta say, I have zero competition in this business. As far as I know, I'm the only person who makes big chunky bubbles out of soup, stews, and chowders. And something about this is very exciting to me.
You know what's interesting? It's you have. I was almost going to say there's no reason to even ask who are you going to call because you're the only person to call. But it makes me think of the Ghostbusters song. Why is he even asking that question of who you're going to call? There's only one Ghostbusters, right?
I think he's asking it in a rhetorical and, if I may, condescending manner.
You really, Ray
of
Parker
course
Jr.
you're going to call Ghostbusters.
Well, maybe you
looking
call
down
a
his
priest. Maybe you call a religious leader. Maybe you call.
But they're
Another
not going to
ghost.
solve the problem.
Well, they could do perhaps an exorcism.
The Ghostbusters are the only ones who are going to clean up the town in that manner.
We don't know.
I don't know.
We
That's
don't
true.
know.
That's true. Anyway, back to this. You guys, are you interested? You're
Yes.
truly interested in the soap bubble game?
What's your name again, dear?
Soup
Mike.
bubble.
Your name is Mike?
Yep.
What's your last name?
P.
Mike P.
Is that P-E-E?
P-E-A.
Oh, okay.
I like split pea soup.
So you have tried soup.
No, I like the color.
Huh? Oh, you're
Who
always
likes the
one
color
step-
of split pea
It's
soup?
beautiful. It reminds me of the rich, loamy earth.
I love loams and legumes.
Legumes
What's your
and
favorite loam?
Silt.
It's tough to beat.
So, I mean, you're actually excited by this, though, Big Chunky Bubbles?
Well, yeah, I've never had any kind of competition. I've always been unique in my field, which is a blessing and a curse. Obviously, all the money for Soup Bubbles goes to me.
Some would say competition is what spurs people to achieve more than they would normally have achieved.
Innovate.
Exactly. It's like I would have a competitor who would spur me to greater creative heights, just like you. I don't know who that would be for you.
You're right.
Bazooka Joe Comics.
You know what, Petey? I don't know why I keep having you on.
I don't either.
What's your
we
big-
have a very contentious relationship.
No.
What's your biggest gig to date?
Well, I did the Just for Kids Festival in Montreal.
Yeah, but-
I was savagely reviewed in the local paper.
Yeah, he read the review on it. It
Oh,
was,
don't do
yeah.
that.
It was pretty terrible. But what,
Petey, you must have endorsements just knocking your door down.
the Campbells...
You would think that all manner of soup companies.
Oh, Campbell's?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Hunts.
They're number 2. They try harder.
But you don't, because...
No, I think it's because of how often people have been scalded by the bubbles.
Well, you also don't like to eat soup. So what
No,
are they
and I-
advertising with you?
Yeah, you'd be coming from a position of ignorance.
I did have one meeting one time with someone from Del Monte, and they said, "What's your favorite soup?" And I said, "I wouldn't eat soup on a bet." And that was the end of that meeting.
Yeah, the scalding is a big
Canceled
problem.
my Progresso appointment later that day.
They canceled your Progresso appointment? How could they do that?
I did.
Oh.
I figured I see where this is headed.
Right.
These soup guys like you to really stroke them.
Oh.
So, Big Chunky Bubbles, what...
Stroke it. Stroke it.
So, Big Chunky Bubbles, what are you up to now? I mean, obviously, I haven't seen you in a few months. Have you been out there entertaining the children? Or you're always an innovator. You always have things going on.
It's been a really fallow period for old Big Chunky Bubbles.
Yeah.
I haven't had any gigs.
Kids not having birthdays in these months?
They seem to be having birthdays, but I don't seem to be hired to entertain them.
What's your website like? What's your online presence?
Do you have a landing page?
I do have a landing page thanks to Squarespace.
Sure.
I didn't even know what it was or what it did, but
Oh.
it came for free. And I was like, all right, good. Free with the service.
So, yeah, what's it like, though? Is your phone number there? Is there a way to contact you?
I mean, I tried to do something artistic with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so my website, my official homepage is basically, it's a treasure map to the information. That's the treasure at the end of the trail.
Okay, and how do people solve
Stroke that treasure.
How do you keep saying
Because treasure trail. I just thought of dicks. I don't know.
Are you constantly thinking of dicks?
Not always, but sometimes.
So how do you solve the treasure map? What I mean is it?
There's a list of 36 instructions.
Oh boy, that's way too much.
I advise people to print it up.
People don't want to print up a website in order to solve a
Well,
riddle.
then they don't want to contact me.
Well, they don't, and see, you were seeing what's happening.
No.
Your business is just lying fallow.
I'm an artist, and I try to make everything I do artistic.
Well, some things shouldn't be artistic. Some things should be simple, right?
What? Name one thing that shouldn't be artistic.
Sometimes soup. Sometimes the most simple of soups.
A broth. What do we think of broths?
Broth is like the precursor to a soup.
Boom.
Okay.
It's like what a soup could be, but you have to put a bunch of stuff. It's just, water. Basically. It's chicken flavored water or whatever.
At what point does something become a soup from a broth? When you put one thing in it?
Like a stone.
Yeah, anything. Like if you put some chicken in it, is it a soup?
If you put one piece of chicken, is it a chicken soup?
Yeah.
No.
How
it
many?
needs multiple pieces of chicken.
That's
two.
a garnish if it's just one piece of chicken.
So 2 pieces of chicken.
Minimum 5.
You know your soups. I have to
do
admit.
know my
I have to
soups
admit. I was
inside and out.
Wait, I'm having an idea here.
Uh-oh.
When I was a child, someone hired a clown for my classmate's birthday party.
No, how original.
But hear me out. At the end of the
Come on,
party,
Petey.
he revealed to the birthday girl's grandmother that he was also a stripper. So I was thinking maybe you could. Yeah, this is a true story.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Did in front of the children he revealed this? Or?
I heard it.
And how did this come up? Did he say, "Oh, BTW, I also could end the day by stripping right now if you were to pay me extra"?
Granny, yes.
Okay. And
Did he call her Granny?
did she take him up on it, or
That
you don't know?
I don't know. I went home.
Okay.
I kind of thought that he was going to end up stripping at the same party.
That's extra.
He was going to be instantly engaged in his second capacity.
I met that guy before, that clown. Once.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, how do you figure it out? Like, you got to do 2 different things? It seems like it's complicated. There must be a lot of paperwork. And he said, no, it's very easy. I just go, you want the bozo or the blow-joe?
He would be the one receiving the blowjo.
So not a lot of paperwork then.
0.
So, but Gilly, why did you bring this up? Why?
Well, I think that you should really expand your notions of your operation here.
Well, for your information, miss, I'm not only a bubble artist. That is my primary art, it's true. But at the end of every party, I let any grandmothers know. By the way, I also can sculpt things out of meat.
Sculpt out of meat.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm not trying to stand in the way of your meat sculptures.
Good, because you can.
I would simply suggest that in addition to offering soup bubbles at parties, you have a clown there. He could really...
Wait, you want to find this clown who's a stripper? Is that
Yes.
what I'm getting at? You're just looking for this clown that's a stripper that excited you so much when you were a kid.
Yes.
You've been searching for this clown ever since.
Been thinking about it nonstop.
Okay, look, no, I want to hear about the
Non-stop.
I want to hear about the meat sculptures. You make meat sculptures.
I take the biggest hunk of meat I can find.
How
and
big are
then-
these hunks of meat that you're usually finding? Like a rack of ribs, or what are you doing?
No, like a side of beef.
A full side of beef.
If I can get my hands on one, sure, but it's expensive.
Right, so you're bringing these. You're not saying, hey, what meat do you have around the house?
Well, they don't always want the meat sculpture, so it'd be foolish for me to bring my own meat there every time.
Right,
So I
okay.
usually ask, if you happen to have a side of beef, I'd be happy to make a sculpture for you.
And what kind of thing can you make out of a side of beef?
You ever seen the Eiffel Tower?
I have. Let me see. I went to Paris. I stayed right there in the middle of Paris.
Scott, forget it.
Forget it? Why?
Paris.
Oh, Paris. Great.
Was that a play on the famous movie everyone knows?
You're on fire, Paul.
Everyone's favorite Billy Crystal, Deborah Winger movie?
I really wondered what it would look like.
We will always have Paris. That's just the saying.
All right.
Eiffel Tower. You saw the Eiffel Tower.
I did see I'm remembering now. I saw the
It was
Eiffel
an
Tower.
Eiffel.
Is there a gas leak in
I
here?
don't know what's going on right now.
Paul's so happy.
Like a virus, it spread to Gillian.
So look, so you make the Eiffel Tower.
Yes!
Okay.
Make me reset everything I ever say.
Well, all you said was you ever heard of it.
We go off down this Laffy Taffy road, and then you come back to me, and you're like, what are you all about again?
That's the whole show.
Every time?
Yes.
Who would listen to this?
What if you had a dog that also made bubbles, but they were fart bubbles? Getting back to my earlier
Are
point.
you looking for ideas? Is that what this is?
He doesn't have any work.
Is this like
don't-
Shark Tank? We're supposed to be pitching you things?
Why are you mad at me?
I thought that you came in here wanting to talk about something.
I did, and then this one keeps telling me first she's going to be my competition, then she's pitching me ideas. I got to involve all these other people and animals.
Do you have a pet, by the way?
I used to have a dog.
Oh, what happened?
Can you take a guess? What?
Died?
Yeah,
Wait, but from soup?
yeah.
Oh, no.
Dogs love meat soups,
They love it. Yeah, they love nothing more than meat. It gets them crazy.
and they love some vegetables too. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, some dogs just eat anything you put in front of them.
Yeah.
And so what happened?
Well, I was practicing a new bubble.
Oh, the bubbles are in shapes of things that exist already, or just in strange oblong shapes that look cool?
There's only so many shapes you can make a bubble go into.
Well, you could do like a Mickey Mouse where it's like, ooh, one big bubble and
Yeah,
then two bubbles on
I've
top
done
of it.
it, yeah.
Right. So
Do you get sued by the Walt Disney Corporation if you do a Mickey Mouse soup bubble?
They've tried. But I say, here's the thing. I always say, oh, it's just a coincidence. That wasn't supposed to look like that.
it's
You
their
just
fault for
admitted to
making
it, though, on
Mickey
this
look like
podcast.
something.
That's right. I say, how come nature's not suing you for Mickey Mouse looking like three bubbles together?
But no mouse looks like Mickey Mouse, so nature can't sue Walt Disney Corporation.
Exactly, and that's why they don't probably.
So you were making a new bubble and
Yeah.
it exploded on your...
It looked like a cat head.
Oh no, that's...
I made as close as I could 2 triangular bubbles on top of a spherical bubble.
Wow.
My little dog,
Just chased after it.
Damocles, he went crazy for it.
Damocles.
He
Oh.
landed right in the vat of soup.
Oh no.
It was terrible. It smelled delicious.
You didn't eat the soup after
Of
that.
course not.
Okay.
He
okay.
never eats soup, Scott!
Okay.
I had 2 reasons not to. I don't like soup, and also my dog was in there.
Oh. So just cooked right up, huh?
He cooked himself right up. And as a tribute to him, I used that same soup with Damocles in it at my next gig.
Oh no.
A lot of people didn't agree that the soup smelled delicious.
Oh.
Some people thought it smelled like a charred dog.
Well, yeah.
Like that phrase came up a lot during the show.
It's interesting that you think that it's delicious, though.
It smelled delicious to me.
That's what smells delicious to you.
Well, look, my olfactory senses are not the best. I think it's from so many scaldings from exploding soup bubbles.
Yeah. So, Big Chunky Bubbles,
Yeah.
why are you here?
Well, I'm putting myself out there.
Oh, really?
As you know, my wife died.
Oh,
you
shit.
probably forgot.
No, I remember you
Oh,
told...
you finally remember?
I mean, I don't remember a lot of
3
your...
times I've met you. Twice you had to make me tell you the story of my wife dying.
Tell me again, though, because
Oh!
I meet a lot of people. It's hard to remember the details sometimes.
Here's some new people I haven't met before. Can you guess how my wife died?
No,
Soup!
Yeah, that's right. It was a bubble accident, of course.
She didn't know to steer clear?
It's not that she didn't know to steer clear. It's that what I was working on was a particularly... Look, this is a matter of public record.
Right, yes.
My wife is not to blame in her death. It's my fault.
Yeah, we're implying it is your fault.
I never said it wasn't.
We don't need to imply. We can just say it.
You think I never accused my wife of doing suicide by soup?
How much money you got?
I beg your pardon.
Well,
What a bold question.
Scott, I
Ease
know
up.
where this is going.
Ease up.
know where this is going.
Ease up. What are you trying to say, Big Chunky Bubbles?
I'm a widower, as you know, and it's
Yeah.
been several years, and I think I'm ready to put myself back out there on the market and maybe even find a mom for my stupid old kids.
How many children do you have?
I got 3 kids.
How old are they?
How are they now since the last time we've spoken?
Yeah.
I'm going to say the twins,
Yeah.
Robbie and Bobby.
Sure. By the way,
Yeah.
aren't they both just named Robert?
No, we've been over this.
Okay.
Roberta and Robert. It could be if it's a boy and a girl.
Could be, isn't. It's Robbie and Bobby. Those are their names.
How old are they now?
11.
Okay. And then your
And then Tag.
Tag, yeah.
Yeah.
Hewer, Hower.
Tag is the one that you are not that fond
We
of.
call him. I'm not crazy about any of them, to be honest.
Right,
But
yeah.
Tag wasn't. He was a surprise.
Right.
Many years after we had the twins.
How old is he?
He's 3.
He's
Oh,
3.
no,
yeah.
I'm out.
we
Scott,
called him.
I won't do
we
it.
called him Tag because he's extra.
Right, yeah. Like a
then-
skin tag.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
They're motherless? These are motherless children.
Yes. They just have me. Their dad.
Nope, I'm not doing it.
well, hold on.
What are you talking about?
Scott, I know what wicked games you're
Look.
up to, Chris Isaac.
Look,
Scott.
I may have invited Big
Aukerman.
Chunky Bubbles here.
Hey, sidebar.
Yes.
Remember when Chris Isaac had that TV show? That was weird.
That was strange. Was it? You ever see that thing he did to Cameron Diaz?
No, what did he do?
Anyway, yeah, look
That's
it
all
up.
I think about when I hear his name.
What did he do to Cameron Diaz?
Yeah, look
He
it up.
forced a kiss on her that she didn't want.
Oh, I remember
the
that.
Smooch Patrol was
The Smooch Patrol is
irate.
very upset
It's
about
some
that.
MTV show or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Adrian Brody did that to
To Halle Berry,
Berry.
yeah. It's if you ever win an award, it's a real position of power.
What a weird trend of 2. I guess you need 3 to be a trend.
Maybe it's like pieces of chicken in a soup. You need 5. But look, I may have invited Big Chunky Bubbles here because Gillian, I know of your recent issues in the, I hate to plug it again, but the love department.
Is this a setup?
Look, I like you, Gillian. I like you, Big Chunky. Well, that's maybe a little strong.
That was a close one.
You may be the guest I like the least out of anyone that's ever been on this show.
Scott!
But I think sometimes, fate thinks that 2 people who seemingly would be mismatched are actually a great match. And, Gillian, since you were on the show last, of course, you're now penniless and broke and without any sort of romance in your life. And here's a man who's a relatively recent widower who has 3 annoying children and who is out of work.
To be fair, the children only annoy me.
Sure. They don't annoy other people?
I don't know. I didn't take a poll or anything.
You could.
I suppose I could.
All right, let's go through it. Do you own a home?
Almost.
Where?
In Encino.
Nope.
Really? Encino is it?
Deal breaker.
No, I can't. I have too many exes in Encino.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
Really? What parts
Why
of
are
Encino?
they all in Encino?
Exino.
Well,
Okay.
Brendan Fraser is one of them.
Okay, yeah.
And he lives in Encino?
Come on, Paul.
Great work on The Affair this year. Did he?
Got it. Didn't you, Paul? Yeah.
Oh, wait a
Oh,
minute.
he's an
I get it.
Encino man.
Encino man, sure.
Have you guys
One of those-
swapped bodies?
Encino man, one of those movies that women talk about. What?
Hey, where'd I put my earrings?
I don't even have my ears pierced. And you know that.
I know that.
What a freakish Friday. I want this young lady to know I didn't come here to be set up. I wasn't in on this. This is news to me.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So,
That's not my problem with you.
look, before you go into your problems,
What is it? I want to know what the problem is with me.
You've got 3 children.
Yeah.
You're broke,
I think Gary had more children than 3.
but they were adult. I don't want to raise these children, and you live in a real hot spot of exes for me, Encino, California.
Listen, the kids practically raise themselves. I try to really keep my distance.
What do they do? Like, you're here doing a podcast for a couple hours. Like, what are they
Yeah.
up to now?
God knows.
Do you have them making your soups?
They participate sometimes in the making of soups. They're not very good at it.
But being kids, they have to have some sort of hookup with other kids who maybe want to have a birthday party entertainer.
You would think, but every time I broach the subject with them, they say, "Oh, Dad, we're kind of loners at school. We don't really have friends or do activities, but I'm always having to sign permission slips for them to go have fun."
What if you button the subject with them?
I don't know what's happening right now.
Is button the opposite of broach?
No, it's just a different thing.
What about for your kids? You could do their parties.
You pay himself?
Well, yeah, exactly.
What, you only do it for getting paid? I'm just saying give them a thrill. Do their party.
Well,
How much do you owe on the house?
It's almost paid off.
How much do you owe on the house?
$500,000.
How much is it worth?
Scott!
$200,000.
What is the...
You've borrowed?
I've taken out several mortgages.
Oh.
Scott, I've got bills.
I know you do, but look, it's time to play
Well,
something.
I've got the skills to pay those bills.
Do you, though?
I'm very good at what I do. I'm alone in my field. Whenever there's a demand for bubbles made out of soups or stews, I'm the guy they call.
Well, not when I get LM...
Liquid, meal, sphericals.
Spheres.
Spheres.
You're
All right,
both
sorry.
fired.
All right, it's time to play something that we've never played on the show before, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. It's time to play the Comedy Bang Bang dating game.
What?
Introducing our Bachelorette. She stars on Love Season 2, March 10th. You can take a look at her smooching. Gillian Jacobs.
What?
And we have 3 bachelors. What I want you to do is I want you to take your mic over there. Turn around. Okay?
Okay.
Now you're going to ask the 3 of us questions here. And you're not going to know who's answering.
No, there already seems to be a major flaw with this premise.
Now you don't know who just said that, right?
No, that was Paul.
Right. Okay, you're going to ask us questions about ourselves, and we'll each answer. And then at the end, I want you to pick bachelor number 1, 2, or 3, and you're going to have to marry that person. And I'm willing to throw my hat in the ring.
What kind of marriage?
We're talking, I don't know, what kind of marriage are you looking for?
Marriage?
We're talking everything. We're talking
Marriage of convenience.
soup to nuts.
Can we
Pun
switch
intended.
the
Soup
numbers?
to other soups.
The bachelor numbers?
Sure, yeah, we'll switch them around.
What were they to begin with?
Then how do I choose at the end if you keep switching the numbers?
You add them all up and divide by 3.
Right. All right, so do you have a question in mind right now?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. We're going to go to bachelor number 1.
Bachelor number 1, how much money do you have?
I have 2 nickels to rub together.
Bachelor number 2. How many outstanding parking tickets do you have?
None. I don't have a car.
Bachelor number 3. If you found a dirty diaper in your bed, what would you do?
I would nod and go, oh, it happened again.
Bachelor number 2.
Wait, did we switch the numbers yet?
No, okay, let's switch. All right. Okay.
Bachelor 2?
All right.
Bachelor number 2.
Yes.
Why?
Cord. The cord goes inside the screw, and then you flip the switch. No, don't flip the switch.
Okay, good.
Great. That was great. Bachelor number 4.
Yeah.
Underneath it all, who are you?
I'm just a boy looking at the back of a girl, assuring her that my kids are not really a big part of my life.
Bachelor number 9.
Yep.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
Oh, more of a statement.
Bye.
Bachelor number 2. Bachelor number 2.
Hey, you're present.
I don't even think that you understand me at all. Prove it now.
Somewhere deep inside of you, there is a tiny voice crying out, "You will all bow down to me when I come into my place of power."
Illuminating. Bachelor number 10.
I'm sorry, I left.
Bachelor number 10.
I'm gone.
Bachelor number 10.
All right, what?
You caught him.
Would you kill for me?
I would kill you.
For me.
Yes. If you asked me,
To kill me for me?
yes. If you were like, I can't stand the pain anymore.
She'll kill me for me, not because I look like Terry Polo.
I don't know what that is.
She likes me for me.
I'm worried about you
We
too.
fell in love watching Office Space. We fell in love watching Office Space.
There probably is someone out there who fell in love watching
It
Office.
stands to reason.
Yeah.
Staplers. They had a lot of staplers
Yeah,
at
probably
their
Jennifer
wedding.
Aniston, a little egoist.
Ron Livingston.
Stephen
I'm ready to make-
Root.
Here's my impression of Jennifer Aniston. Let's put on Office Space tonight. Oh, Jen.
Uh-oh, that song.
I'm ready to make my decision.
That song means we're out of time.
I thought that song meant time to go outside. Mom's watching TV.
This is probably the podcast with the largest amount of swings to misses that has ever been recorded.
I like, though, you say a thing and then you just look down at the ground. As if to say, I've released it, and whatever happens next is not up to me.
Gillian, we're going to have to ask, who did you pick out of those bachelors?
I picked Sir Richard Branson.
Not a choice. You're going to have to pick one of the bachelors.
I pick Mr. Soupy Bubble Man.
What? Me?
How do you know which one it was out of the numbers?
I don't care about those answers. I don't care about the rules. I don't care about the fact that I secretly have eyes on the back of my head that you never knew about and I could see all of you the whole time.
What?
that's weird.
I was stroking it the entire time.
I saw it.
We all saw it.
Oh, yeah, I guess I should. You guys were looking right at me.
Yeah, you were looking at us, too. It was weird.
And I have a set of eyes on your thigh.
Thighs.
Yeah, that's how I saw it.
The thighs have it.
Well, this is great. I think.
Glad we
Is this
talked about
though,
this.
Scott? Is this though?
I mean, look, you don't have a lot of options these days.
Why? Why am I
You're-
only limited to guests of this podcast?
Look, you're approaching. Let me talk tough with you. All right,
Tough talk.
you're approaching a certain age. You know what I mean? You're an unmarried actress in Hollywood. The bloom
Aren't
has
I
kind of
widowed?
Wait, what?
the bloom has kind of come off the rose a bit.
All right.
If I may be so blunt, I'm a lot like that guy on Blunt Talk. I just like to be blunt. You don't have a lot of options left. Look, I mean, Paul and I, we were both playing Bachelor, what is it called? Dating game? But we're both married. I think we would have had to have bowed out had we won, I mean,
Yeah,
you
we're part of a very special club that gets a very special ring to be a part of it.
Ugh.
I mean, we got to marry you off because there's not much time left.
Why are you crying, Paul?
Is it
No,
about Milo again?
I miss Milo.
It comes in waves, huh?
Yeah, you think you forget it, and then a few minutes pass, and then it comes
It's
back
like you
up.
wake up in the morning and there's that time before you remember that Milo's gone.
So, Gillian, what do you say?
So you're telling me, because I'm an unmarried actress approaching a certain age.
You haven't found your Warren Beatty yet, like a person several decades older who's going to.
Somebody
did-
say Warren Beatty.
Wait, did he just walk in?
Hello. I got some envelopes to pass around. I've been slipping and sliding all over the place, dropping all envelopes everywhere.
Warren, we're in the middle of a show. You gotta go.
Bye.
That
But,
was exciting.
Scott, I
Yes.
did
He's a
find
legend.
2 of them. I found
You
the
had them, but fate being what it is, who could have foretold that? The tragedy would have struck Comedy Bang Bang this way, you know?
This
Since the
is
last
too
time you were on.
painful. I can't deal with this. I mean, I should at least be comforted with wealth, even if I'm going to have to deal with your children and.
Look, this is the kind of guest we have on now, you know?
What
I mean, all the
happened?
wealthy ones are going.
What?
You know?
Why do I have to get married at all? That's what I'm wondering.
Because people are going to start rumors about you if you don't get married.
Let them. Let them.
You don't want to become an old maid, do you? Remember It's a Wonderful Life, that tragic ending?
Never seen it.
Oh,
She
it's
was
so
a-
scary.
It's so scary. That's the thing that really breaks him. She's an old maid.
Her vision went and she worked at the library.
That sounds delightful. I always wanted to be a
The fact
librarian.
of just not marrying him made her wear
eyes
glasses.
She was probably peering around for a husband.
I don't know about you, Soup Man. I don't know.
Well, I don't know about you.
You
either.
know about me.
I know a little bit about you.
Let's cut the shit, Soup Man. You know
All
all
right.
about me.
Brass
We
tacks.
just earned our E, baby.
What do you know? What do you know about Gillian? You ever see Community?
What's that?
Season 6? You ever have Yahoo Screen?
It's on Hulu now, Scott.
What is everybody saying? I don't understand any of these terms.
All 6 seasons are on Hulu now.
You're an actress, right?
Actor.
Probably. Probably not classically trained.
Ink squeeze me.
Is that what an octopus says?
No, that's what it does.
Right.
Sorry. Jeez, what is your fucking problem?
I'm so irate. I'm irate. You don't. Have you ever thought about what it's done to me emotionally to go through what I've gone through in the last 13 months?
But look at me.
Didn't anyone console you? Anybody? Like
I didn't hear from.
strangers on Twitter
Yes, of course.
for days and days.
Yes, yes, but
Gilly.
Scott, the person I look to for my emotional comfort.
I'm trying to help
shore
you.
me up. Shore me up, Scott.
I'm
Aukerman.
trying to help you because I've seen you over the past few months. You haven't been getting out there. You've been moping around.
Where have you seen me then if I haven't been getting out?
I watched season 1 of Love. I just assumed that you were acting that way because, you know, you were kind of depressed.
Wait. So you're saying she seems
saying
sad based on the last few times you've seen her on a TV show.
Yeah. I assumed like, oh wow, she's not trying that hard. She must be sad. So look, I feel like I can help you. I'm your friend. I'm your buddy. Who in this room other than me is your biggest buddy? You know what I mean? And don't look at Engineer Brett. Don't you dare.
But he Googles things when I tell him to, which is more than you ever do.
Gilly, what do you say?
I say, give me a break. I say, cut me loose, man. I say, give me the real deal, man. I've been looking for my whole life. No more of these sad sack Hollywood millionaire types. No more of these soup salesmen. Give me a real man with some money and real estate. Give me some man with stocks and bonds. Give me a man who owns some stocks and bondage. Give me a man who's got some kneecaps that are solid and some eyes that can see. I can't take this shit anymore.
That was Juilliard caliber delivery.
All right, guys, what are we plugging up? Obviously, Gillian Paul, you have Love, season 2 of which out this Friday.
Season 2 of which?
What happened?
What?
He said Love season 2 of which?
Season 2 of which is out Friday.
yeah.
Oh.
Boy, oh boy.
Did you think I was talking about someone like Mike Cernovich or something?
Or a witch.
Oh, you thought I mentioned an actual wit? Oh,
Yes.
my gosh.
2 of which?
Cernovich.
I don't know who I'm even talking about.
Oh, it's,
My other,
it's not pleasant.
Can I do Mr. Soup's plugs?
Sure.
Okay.
Mr. Soup.
He's going to be appearing at the Americana on March 13th, unlucky day. He's going to be appearing at the parking lot of the Kmart across the street from the Grove on March 15th. and we have a tentative booking for a birthday party on March 17th in Altadena.
What? I don't even know what's happening now. Are you my manager?
I downloaded your iCal when you weren't looking.
Well, the gig at the Americana is going to be something special. I'm filling that fountain with soup, and I'm going to make the biggest soup bubbles anyone's ever seen.
Tell them about the Kmart parking lot.
The Kmart parking lot, I'm going to be giving out advice. So if you want to know how to get into the soup bubble game, meet me it's like right by the entrance to the Kmart, not where the handicap spot is, but to the left of that.
And finish strong with the Altadena appearance.
The Altadena appearance will be a funeral of a friend of mine.
Oh no, you didn't mention who's dead.
It's my mentor.
Wait,
Guy who taught me everything I know about making soup bubbles.
what is his or her name? You said Guy, so what is his name?
That's right. It was a woman.
Oh, okay. What was her name?
Her name was Madam Stew. Madam Stew.
Madam Stew.
She taught me the art
Of making bubbles?
of making bubbles out of soup.
Oh my gosh, this is terrible. How long have you known her?
Like a month.
I thought you
It didn't take long to learn.
You've only been doing. Wait, I've met you earlier than a month ago.
Yeah, I only knew her for a month.
Oh wait, and then you just stopped all
I
contact?
haven't seen her in years.
Oh, okay. Why are you so sad? Oh wait, are you thinking about Milo?
I had some spit in my mouth.
Okay.
I'm thinking about Milo.
Why'd you have to bring his name up?
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Because I miss him.
He was so funny.
He was hilarious.
He's just joking around. What's the big deal?
Paul, do you have anything to plug?
I think Milo is on Real Time with Bill Maher.
You can still catch it?
Yeah, you can still
Still up
catch
there,
it.
HBO Go.
Yeah,
Check it out.
Yeah.
No, watch Love.
Yep.
Meow.
Yep.
Yep.
Meow.
Yep. Okay. Big Chunky Bubbles, anything to plug?
I already did his.
Okay, sorry. Anything for Gillian to plug?
Yes. You should check out a comedian named Paul F. Tompkins. He's hilarious.
One of the best.
One of the best.
Okay.
One of.
Any?
He's up there.
Might he have any appearances or anything coming out? That,
No.
Oh my God.
Spontaneation. Spontaneation.
Spontaneation, great podcast. It comes out
Spontaneation.
on Mondays here on Earwolf. Anything else he's doing?
Yes, he's got a show called Bajillion Dollar Listing on Bajillion Dollar Properties.
Thank you.
Bubble Boy.
Now you're
Can
Bubble
it.
Boy.
Get it? Soup can.
I think I get it.
And also, if you are a fan of Tracy Reardon, we have all of her greatest hits in one place on the Howl app. We have a big playlist, 8 episodes featuring Tracy Reardon. Check those out. All right, that's
Well,
about
where's
it.
the Big Chunky Bubbles merch?
You want merch? What kind of merch are you?
Well, I mean, it practically sells itself.
Does it? What are we talking about? Soups?
Soups.
Just soups?
And those plastic bubble making
Soups
things.
and bubble making things. A
I
bubble
don't
wand.
know. I don't. Maybe.
We'll sue you if you don't put them in the store.
Are we some kind of team or
Are you have some kind of professional relationship? I don't understand you, Gilly. Have you taken over as his manager? What's happening?
Clearly.
All right, all right.
No,
Look,
what's my name again?
Your name is, I know it's a play on
Oh boy.
a dictator.
This is not a good
play
start.
on a dictator.
It wasn't it like Idi Amin, but your name is
Oh, my name is Petey Amin. But what's my stage name?
Boy Who Makes Bubbles.
Close, you got to admit, closer than before. We have a guest who's never been on the show before. I have so many questions. He has a body of work. I know. I had you at. He has a body. He is corporeal. He has a body of work that you go on one of these websites that lists every single thing he's ever been. You'll get yourself too tired to even read. You'll have to take a nap in the middle of the day, or if you're reading it at night, you'll just go to sleep for 8 or 9 hours. It's so long. He's got so much to talk about. He has a new film, Downsizing, which comes out December 22nd. In theaters, Alexander Payne's new film. I've seen it last night. A fantastic film. Yes?
I thought you were talking about me until you started talking about this movie.
Why would I be talking about you with a list of accomplishments and credits?
Well, I'm very accomplished.
But something that like people talk about on the internet other than just your poor reviews?
Why'd you have to bring that up?
You brought them once to the show.
Well, that was to settle a score with someone. I wanted to shame him for writing such a terrible review.
By basically all you did was shame yourself, but we got a full accounting of one of your horrible performances.
I am unashamed. So you take his side.
Well, yeah. If I read it in the paper, it probably happened.
Oh, sure.
Wait, are you a conspiracy theorist?
Well, I'm just saying not everything in the newspaper is true.
All right. We'll get to you in a second, BCB. But Neil Patrick Harris is coming up on the show. I understand he's running a little late in traffic.
From Jurassic Park 1 and 3?
No, I believe you're thinking of Sam Neill.
Oh, yeah.
Are you disappointed? Neil Patrick Harris. He's in How I Met Your Mother and Doogie Howser and the musical Rent.
I really like Sam Neill.
What do you like about Sam Neill?
He's a good actor.
Well, yeah, but so is Neil Patrick Harris.
Okay, sorry, there's more than one good actor in the world.
Well, of course, otherwise...
I'm not allowed to have a favorite?
Otherwise, the Academy Awards would be so boring. It would just be, and the winner is Sam Neill again.
Oh, that sounds like heaven.
What if you went to heaven and every year the Academy
just
Awards...
Sam Neill getting an Oscar over and over
Yeah.
again? I don't know, I guess I wouldn't mind it, I guess.
I think it would get boring, wouldn't it?
Well, regular heaven gets boring.
Yeah, I guess so. Have you ever had a near-death experience where you visited one of these places?
Well, I mean, I've had near-death experiences.
Sure.
And I've seen things that I wish I hadn't seen.
Really? Like what?
Well, one time, I remember I got overcome with soup fumes.
Okay, you know what? I need to actually introduce you so people know what you're talking about when you say soup fumes.
All right.
Neil Patrick Harris is coming up on the show in our next segment, but let's get to our first guest. Certainly not our guest of honor, but our first guest.
What? Oh.
Why make that distinction?
Gotta make that distinction.
He is a children's entertainer.
That's right.
He's been on the show several times previous to this. He, may I describe your actor? Do you want to do it? Yeah, I'll save it for you. But he's a children's entertainer, and he goes by the stage name, I believe.
That's correct.
Of Big Chunky Bubbles.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm sure I have quite a fan base by now, having appeared on this show so many times.
Like 3 times, maybe.
Yeah, but I'm sure people are relieved when I show up. They're like, oh, finally, it's entertaining.
So, Big Chunky Bubbles, describe your act before we get to the soup fumes.
Oh, it's simple. I am a children's entertainer, and I make bubbles out of soups and stews. Hence the name Big Chunky Bubbles.
Have we talked about what is easier, a soup or a stew?
We haven't.
Probably a soup, I would think.
That's right. Good instinct.
What about a puree?
Puree is much harder to make bubbles out of.
Really? I would think the elasticity of it would be
the elasticity of it?
You know, I mean, it doesn't have a lot of weight. Like a stew definitely has chunks, but your name is Big Chunky Bubbles.
Puree has more weight than a soup.
It does.
Yeah.
It has less cream usually.
Than a soup?
Yeah.
Not every soup has cream.
Okay, but a puree is purely just taking the actual ingredients and pureeing them down.
That's right. So they have a thicker consistency.
Okay, all right. But I guess the soup has more water in it. Is that what?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm not a chef.
Well, then maybe you should keep your mouth shut.
Well, unfortunately, if I did that, we would have no show.
Oh, what a dream. I changed my idea of heaven.
I don't know why I have you on the show.
I don't either,
to be honest. But look, we're going to talk to you. You are a children's entertainer who uses soups and stews
to make big chunky bubbles.
Now you've seen a person making soap bubbles. You make soup bubbles.
Boring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, soap bubbles make themselves.
Me telling people about that, or the people actually doing it?
A bit of both.
Okay. So you decided to take it up. You wanted to kick it up a notch.
Yeah. Bam. I decided that it would be more interesting to make big chunky bubbles rather than boring old soap bubbles.
Can I ask, did you come up with the stage name first and then the idea to make soap or soup
They were
bubbles?
almost simultaneous.
Really?
Yeah. I made the bubble first, and I said, oh, look at that big chunky bubble.
And then almost like a photo finish.
And then I looked, I could see myself in the bubble.
Whoa.
And so I said, oh, I'm looking at me. I'm big chunky bubbles.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is like the origin story.
I guess.
This is like when Peter Parker, decides that...
The Spectacular Spider-Man?
Yeah, with great power comes great responsibility. Great and great. So now you are a children's entertainer. We've talked extensively on this program about your
great
mishaps.
I am.
Well, okay, but more of your mishaps where hot scalding soup gets spattered above
I don't know why you
the
have to
heads of
bring
children.
that up all the time. Yeah, sometimes hot scalding soup has, spilled on people.
Sure, and perhaps scarred children for life. Sort of like a powder situation?
I don't know that we've ever said that any children were scarred for life because of my
Is that
routine.
simply because you haven't checked up on these children?
This is what you do every time.
I'm merely interested in your life. I want to hear all the details.
Well, if you're really interested in my life, you'd ask me what I'm working on lately.
Okay, I will do that, but I do want to get to the soup fumes that you were talking about earlier.
That's right.
Okay, so now you spend all night, anytime you have a performance, I would imagine you spend all night toil, and trouble, mixing around your soups.
Toil, and trouble.
What am I trying to think of?
Bubble, toil, and trouble.
Right.
How does your garden grow? With snips and snails and puppy dog tails. Now let's get on with the show.
Right. Okay.
That's what I say every night.
That's what you say as you're mixing your soup.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then the following day, you then premiere these soups at your performance.
I don't premiere the soups. It's the bubbles that are the star of the show.
So the soups, no one cares. You don't do a big presentation of the soups?
Well, I tell people what the soup is so they have some context for how amazing the bubbles are.
Okay, but there's no presentation like, and now get ready for the soups. And then an assistant brings them out and you say, look at this one. I made it last night.
I think that would lead people to believe they're going to eat some soup, which they're not going to do.
You don't allow anyone to eat the soup.
Well, no, because sometimes I have to add a fixative to it to help make the bubbles.
Now, I would think that people would be very excited to just have soup. Like you could have a really good business just making these soups, which by all accounts are delicious, and then just passing them out.
What account? What?
I would imagine, are they not delicious soups?
No.
They're not?
No, they don't have to be good. They're not for people to eat.
Wait, so you don't use the finest of ingredients?
I use the most necessary of ingredients.
Just whatever the bare minimum to make it soup?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so these are disgusting tasting soups?
Yeah, sorry.
I think if something is a soup, it should, at bare minimum, at least taste like soup and presentable.
Okay, all right, genius. Let me run this concept by you.
All right.
Sometimes when they want to photograph ice cream, it's really mashed potatoes. Because the ice cream
melts.
It melts, it doesn't photograph the same way.
Sure.
So they'll photograph mashed potatoes standing in for ice cream.
So, but by your analogy, you're saying that if you were to say, hi, I make soup bubbles, and then they were just soap bubbles, that would be fine because it looks better. And you're just lying to someone.
They're two different media.
Sure, but mashed potatoes and ice cream are two different foods.
My point is, if you were trying to eat this ice cream and you got a mouthful of mashed potatoes, you'd say, this is not good ice cream.
That's my point, is it's not even ice cream. You need to be serving soup.
I'm not serving anything. What? You're very frustrating, and I feel like you're deliberately misunderstanding the concept.
I'm not misunderstanding at all. I'm saying if you have just some disgusting toxic fluid, that's not soup. It's got to taste like soup. It's got to taste good.
It does taste like soup. It doesn't taste like good soup.
So would someone spit it out if it was in their mouth?
They should.
Then it's not soup.
It is soup.
It's just some concoction you're making.
You're saying there's no such thing as bad soup?
There's poor soup where you're like, this isn't my favorite soup. But if there's something wrong with the soup where you're like, they fucked this soup up, you'd send it back to the kitchen.
Yeah, if you were at a restaurant eating soup.
But in order to be called soup, it's got to not be fucked up soup.
What is this weird rule you're making?
I'm saying you should, instead of going out there and saying, hey, kids, I'm going to be making bubbles out of soup, you should say, I made this batch of liquid.
Have you ever, I think I already know the answer to this question, but have you ever sent food back at a restaurant?
Why would you? No, I sit there and I take it because I feel bad for the people in the service industry.
Oh, is that so? But so has any meal ever been less than good?
But not disgusting. If something's disgusting and you go,
I never said it was disgusting. I just said it wasn't that good.
Yes, you kind of did.
Well, it depends on the individual. Everyone's palate is different.
99.9% of people find that your soup disgusting.
They wouldn't find it good, is all I'm saying.
Okay, I don't know that it's soup then.
Well, okay, this is my question. If you have a bad meal, would you go into the kitchen and say, this hamburger, you can't call it a hamburger anymore?
If I ordered a hamburger and instead it was just like, a cow patty on a bun, I would say, you didn't make me a hamburger. You took some cow shit and you put it on a bun.
Well, that's not what...
Not to liken your culinary creations to cow shit.
I don't know why. I would come to this place at my own expense for free.
How much is it costing you to get here?
It cost me a lot of money.
How much?
I have to take several cabs.
Why not just take one?
Because some of the... No one cab will take me...
Is someone following you?
No one cab will take me the whole distance.
Okay. Well, look, all I'm saying... Is this because you're broke and you use terrible ingredients, or is it because you don't have the know-how to make good-tasting soup, or is it you just don't care?
Okay. I feel like from the gate, I explain the concept. The soup doesn't have to be good because no one's going to eat it. It just has to be soup so I can make soup bubbles.
But it has to be edible. That's my point.
It's edible, but edible things aren't always good. You could eat a crumpled up piece of paper. Bon appetit.
That's what it tastes like. You're contradicting yourself all the time.
It does. It's just not that good is all I'm saying.
All right, let's move on.
I don't spend a lot of time making it delicious.
But you spend a lot of time on it. You're chanting over and over.
That's right. That's more of a stage
hyping
ritual.
Yourself up
hyping myself
for
up.
the performance.
Yeah,
All right, let's
yeah.
move on. I do feel I'm right about this, but
well, you're not.
Let's move on.
Everyone's entitled to their feelings, I guess.
So soup fumes got the best of you.
So I was overcome by soup fumes, and I feel like I went to a place briefly, or I was hovering over a place.
Over your own body or over a different place?
I don't consider my body a place, so...
But you were in a place, I presume.
Well, you got me there.
Your house?
Yeah, I started in my house, overcome by soup fumes.
Sure. So you were hovering above your house?
I was hovering above a place that I'd never been to before.
Ooh.
Now you're interested.
I certainly am. All right, you've hooked me. Now
And
reel me in.
It was a cold void. Filled with chairs.
Okay. Like a waiting room type situation?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And there were people sitting there, and they looked awful bored.
Okay. All right. What do the people look like?
Well, one guy was kind of tall. He had kind of blonde hair, and he was. I remember in front of these.
Wait a minute. Were you hovering?
Chairs, there were microphones.
You were hovering above the Ace, the theater at the Ace Hotel last night for the PCAST blast.
I remember that there weren't chairs so much as stools.
Okay.
And everyone was holding microphones, and I remember there was like this whole huge crowd of people who were just yawning and falling asleep.
All right.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so...
Of course, I've never been overcome by soup fumes. I'm just making soup.
And you're not even making soup. These would be
Whoa.
fumes of something else.
It's soup. Just because it's not good doesn't mean it's not soup. I'm following a recipe.
Whose recipe are you following?
Oh, this was a recipe handed down to me by my family. It's been in my family for generations.
Really? How many generations do you know?
Probably 7.
Oh my gosh. And this is soup from the old country? What is
From here.
Your family's been here with one of the original...
That's right, from the Mayflower.
Really?
Yeah.
Any of your family burned at the stake for being witches? or
A
anything?
few.
Wow. Do you think...
They weren't, by the way.
Right. Do you think if you had done your art form back then, that you would be considered a warlock?
Well, I think bubbles are pretty old.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think they've been around for hundreds of years.
I guess people would probably just be more annoyed that you're popping hot, scalding bubbles above their head.
Of course.
Maybe burn you at the stake for
Of
that.
course, in your scenario, they're annoyed and they're not delighted. How do you know these primitive people wouldn't have been thrilled to see me make soup bubbles?
I guess now you're confusing
Yeah,
it.
because of you.
Look, Big Chunky Bubbles.
Yeah.
What are you doing here today?
Well, it's the holiday season.
It certainly is. Happy holidays to you, or may I say, Merry Christmas.
You can say whatever you want. I don't care.
Which do you celebrate?
I don't celebrate anything.
Really?
No.
You're
It's just another day to me.
Well, when you don't have anyone to spend the holidays with, it can sometimes feel that way.
Well, I do. I have 3 kids.
Oh, right. I forgot about them.
Thanks.
What are their names again?
Robbie, Bobby, and Tag.
Right. Where do they live again? Do they live near you?
Yeah, they live near me.
I don't remember where you live, quite honestly.
Well,
But the cab
and you
situation.
never will. But yes, my boys live with me.
They live with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I spend Christmas with them. I've been trying to talk them out of it, but they just keep insisting that they want to celebrate it. They want presents. I personally don't celebrate it.
It's hard when young children are fascinated by Christmas. The corporations and the advertising community, they really hype them up.
Exactly. It's terrible. Mm-hmm. And so I disabuse them of the idea of a Santa Claus.
Okay. At how early of an age?
From, I'm going to say, in utero. You know how some people play classical music for their baby before it's born?
Right, sure.
I was whispering to my wife's womb, there's no such thing as Santa Claus.
You're whispering in your wife's womb?
I said 2. What? Why do you do this?
I don't know.
You take a perfectly innocent thing like me talking to my wife's belly and saying there's no Santa Claus.
I've heard about tonguing the letters of the alphabet and it's supposed to feel so good. Maybe whispering there is no Santa Claus feels just as good.
Well, why don't you try that?
Maybe I will.
Yeah, maybe you will.
This holiday season. Anyway, so they grow up not knowing or knowing there is not a Santa Claus.
That's right.
Right.
When they still somehow they defied me and chose to believe in it.
So they really don't believe.
Because they hear from their little friends at school.
How old are these kids again? I don't recall.
They're young children.
Okay.
All right. Robbie and Bobby are twins.
Right.
And then a few years later, we had Tag.
Right. Yeah. He was a surprise, but wasn't there there was a big stretch in between them?
It was a fairly big stretch. Yeah.
Right. So Robbie and Bobby are
they're older.
They're older, but they're still young.
They're little boys.
Right.
They're my little boys.
Right. Of course. You know what? Let's not get specific about this.
They're in school, so that should give you some context for how old they are.
Sure, I guess anyone can
They're
be
in
school
grammar
at any age. Oh, grammar school.
That's right.
Very good.
And so their little friends at school fill their head with Santa Claus. And then they tell me, Dad, there is a Santa Claus. And I say, no, there's not.
Mm-hmm. But they believe they're friends and not you.
Yeah, and they laugh at me when I say there's no Santa Claus.
Do they point at you as well and laugh at you?
They point to each other when they see each other laugh because they're twins.
Oh, that's cute.
And Tag, he just does whatever the big ones do.
Do they dress alike?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's cute.
They
I like when twins
They try to trick me.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a Parent Trap situation?
Why would they do a Parent Trap situation on me?
Maybe to get you back. Oh, that's right. Your wife.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry to bring up your wife.
Boy, I feel. Can I tell you something?
Sure, yeah.
It's very insulting that you seem to always forget that my wife is dead.
I'm sorry, but
I feel
it's
like
not
that's
the most interesting thing about you.
No, but it's, a human thing to do to file that information away when you see someone. So you're not like, hey, how's your dad doing? Oh, that's right, he died.
So many people pass through these halls. I can't remember everyone's details.
You can't or you won't.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
So this holiday season, what are you up to?
I'm doing a show. I'm going to stream it live.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm getting into the 21st century.
Okay, congratulations. On Christmas Day?
On Christmas Day.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm making special holiday bubbles.
Okay, special holiday. Let me imagine these bubbles. When I think of a holiday bubble, I think of shaped like an ornament or...
What? You can't do that.
Okay, so it's just a regular bubble, maybe with glitter on it, looking like a snowflake.
Pop the bubble.
What
Let me save you the trouble.
Okay.
I'm going to make themed bubbles from certain soups. So I'm going to make some Hanukkah bubbles from matzo ball soup. Never done that before.
Okay, so just regular shaped bubble, but from matzo ball soup.
Yeah, and here's the kicker with that. I'm going to bring enough soup to make one bubble, but I'm hoping I'll be able to make 8 bubbles.
Oh, okay.
To mimic the Hanukkah story.
Okay, so you're just going to hope that you have enough soup.
Well, it's not that I'm going to hope. It's that I'm going to definitely bring enough to make one bubble, and then it's up to me to figure out how to stretch it out into 8 bubbles.
Can you have a bubble at one point and they still be, or would it pop it? Or, sometimes you see that where one bubble, you can have it and it becomes 2 separate bubbles, but still intact?
Oh, you mean have, like H-A-L-V-E?
Yes. Sorry, should I be pronouncing the L a little more? Halve?
I don't know. Anyway.
I've exasperated you with this very idea
I thought I stated the concept pretty clearly.
I guess I just don't understand. Is it going to be a miracle?
It's not. There's no such thing as miracles.
Okay.
There's no God. No one's going to come save you. And when you're dead, it's just a black, endless void.
This is why no one likes to be around you during the holidays. God, you are such a bummer. I don't know why I had you on in December, such a festive month.
Well, you can continue to believe all your fairy tales if you want.
All right. What other types of bubbles do you have here?
Well, I'm having some trouble figuring out the Christmas.
Sorry, do you hear that a lot?
Yeah.
A common joke that people make.
People like to rhyme things with bubble. They think it's hilarious.
Right.
Because of the double B sound.
Right. It's such a fun word.
Is it?
Do you hate it? Why?
Sometimes I go back and forth.
Why not just abandon it? No one seems to like what you do.
That's not true.
Have you ever gotten good reviews or feedback from one of your performances?
Well, from my wife.
Oh.
She believed in me.
She did, yeah, but she gave the ultimate feedback after one of your performances, if you'll recall.
I'm trying to think if you've ever said anything worse to me than that, and I'm coming up empty.
Sorry, I know it's a sore subject.
Yeah, that I was responsible for my wife's death? Yeah, it's a bit of a sore subject.
Sorry. Do you want me to just paper over it and never bring it up? I mean, what would you prefer?
Maybe next time when you forget that my wife's dead, I won't remind you.
Okay, there we go.
We'll avoid that altogether.
Okay, very good.
Anyway, I'm having difficulty thinking up
trouble.
What soup to use for the Christmas bubble.
Okay.
Because that Christmas red is very specific.
Right.
So I can't use tomato soup. It's not really the same.
It's too orange.
It's too orange.
Mm-hmm.
And then green. I mean, there's a lot of green soups, but nothing that specific Christmas green.
What about a minestrone with its nice and red base, and then it has little vegetables in it that are green?
It's too many vegetables get in the way.
It'll sog, yeah.
You can't make, and if the vegetables are green, they're not, Christmas green, you can't use the vegetables in the bubble.
Okay, sorry.
So what I'm going to do is, and I don't like to do this, but sometimes, as I said, I'll add a fixative or some element to the soup, which is still edible technically.
Like a flour or some sort of paste? Or...
Well, I'll add like sulfur.
Sulfur?
Sulfur or tar.
I don't know.
Tar. What? You don't know what?
Tar.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's bursting above people's heads, that'll make someone's skin asphyxiate.
It's hardly any tar.
Okay. I mean, is it sort of like cigarettes?
Yeah, it's the same amount that's in cigarettes.
Okay.
What's the big deal? I'm not putting fiberglass in there.
Oh, have you ever put fiberglass in one of
Yeah,
your
it doesn't work well.
Oh, boy.
So I'm going to have to add some stuff to the soup to maybe color it.
Okay.
To make it look the appropriate shade.
Okay, shade of red.
Yeah.
Or green.
Well, ideally both.
Okay, got it. Half and half?
Like, will the bubble be half red and half green?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. That's not a bad idea.
Like one of those cookies.
The black and white cookie?
Yeah, there you go, but instead green and red.
Sure. And also a bubble.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of differences, but...
like a zebra, except instead of black and white, it's green and red, and it's a bubble.
Yes.
And not a four-legged animal.
You get what I'm saying.
Sure.
Yeah, it holds up.
Absolutely. Good one. You really helped me talk through this.
So, what are you going to use to color these bubbles?
Well, for the green one, I guess I can use... like in food coloring.
Sure, green food coloring.
Yeah,
Great.
Exactly. They
Done.
make that.
Yeah.
Done. St. Patrick's Day, people make cookies and stuff like that.
Yeah, green beer.
Green beer. There you go. They do it for the whole river.
Sure.
And then for the red, to really get that deep red,
That Christmas red,
yeah.
right, yeah. That we're all accustomed to on wreaths, bows,
Right.
ornaments.
Well, I'll have to use blood.
What's this now?
I have to use blood.
Did you say blood?
Yeah, I said blood.
You're going to put blood into your soup?
Not human.
What kind of blood? Goat's blood?
Yeah, goat's blood.
You're going to sacrifice goats?
It's not I'm not going to do like a ritual or anything. No more than I usually do when I'm making soup.
What kind of ritual do you usually do when you're making soup?
Well, when I make soup, I'll say a little something and make the soup,
Say a little something like a prayer?
Well, more like an incantation, I guess.
Okay, I thought you didn't believe in anything beyond this life.
I don't.
But just covering your bases?
Yeah, look, I've had some close calls.
Yeah, okay, we're back where we started. I don't want to get into you slamming me again. But look, goat's blood.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Do they use, I guess they use ox blood in soups? Or
right, and in shoes.
Right, in shoes, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a color, ox blood.
Yeah.
No one thinks that's crazy.
No, I guess not, but...
so goat's blood in a soup to make it Christmassy.
What percentage of your soup is going to be blood and what percentage is going to be normal soup?
To get it to that color?
Sure.
That festive color?
Sure.
That everyone loves?
Sure.
And never has a problem with?
Right.
90%.
90% goat's blood?
Yeah.
So you're just going to be sprayed. These children are going to be just covered in blood.
I tell these kids every time, you can't get too close.
How close is too close?
Within, I want to say 25 feet.
25 feet?
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to see this performance if they're back there.
You can see the bubbles are pretty big. But anyway, I'm live streaming this, so it's not like there's going to be a bunch of kids right in front of me.
Yeah, why have an audience at all? You don't want another accident.
No, I know I don't. I don't need you to condescend to me like that.
Although I guess no accident would be as bad as the one that happened before.
The one where my wife died?
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Sure. So you're live streaming this.
Yeah.
Just blood bubbles for Christmas.
It's not called blood bubbles for Christmas. It's It's called Bub Bub Bub. Merry Chunky Christmas.
Bub, bub, bub.
You said ho, ho, ho.
Do you think that's going to catch on?
I don't see why it wouldn't.
I mean, really, the Night Before Christmas is just a story and a poem some racist guy wrote, and it
there you go.
Caught on, and everyone says ho, ho, ho now and everything else. So, why not bub, bub, bub?
And also, the A in Christmas is going to be a Star of David, so you know that there's some Hanukkah in there, too.
Got it. So it's bub, bub, bub.
Merry Christmas.
So people supposed to say Merry Chunky Christmas?
I don't know. I'm not going to tell people how to read.
Okay, but you're saving that clue of the Hanukkah until almost the very last letter. Boy, people are going to be, there's no mention of Hanukkah in this until just the very end.
How do you think people read?
Just left to right, my dear boy, unless they're from the Far East.
But you read whole chunks of letters in one when you're looking at a word.
I don't know. I like to sound it out when I'm looking at
every single word.
Yeah, that's why it's terrible watching that CNN crawl. Just try. It's like it takes me all day.
You'll never catch up.
Yeah, tell me about it. Well, speaking of never catching up, good luck to you with
what
this
does
idea.
That mean?
I don't know. What's the website that people can see this? Bub.bub or what do we got?
I wish there was a .bub.
Is it a .gov?
It's a .net. Somebody already had
.gov. Oh, wait, is it Bill Clinton? Bubba himself?
Sure. The AC.
He ain't cheating. None can argue with that.
Well, don't say it. I'm trying to be genteel.
All right, well, good luck to you, Big Chunky Bubbles.
Thanks, I'm sure you mean it.
Can you stick around for the rest of the show? We have Neil Patrick Harris on the show coming up in our next segment. Are you excited for that?
Yeah. Oh. I just remember.
Not Sam Neill, no.
I'll stick around.
All right, Big Chunky Bubbles, the bub, 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 Merry...
Bub, 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 Merry Chunky Christmas.
Merry Chunky Christmas.
With a Star of David as the A in Christmas.
Right. Do you think people, when they hear Merry Chunky Christmas, are going to think it's something else?
Like what?
Like, I don't know, like Chubby Chasers are going to tune into this or something? Or
oh, no.
I don't know. It might not hurt to...
Why? How does a human brain conceive of that? It never occurred to me that people would. Now it's all I can think about.
Merry Soupy Christmas, maybe.
Merry Soupy Christmas. Soupy's not a good adjective in a festive context.
Worked for Soupy Sales. People loved him.
But... people knew that was a nickname. It wasn't describing himself. I'm Soupy.
Do you think his very first performance, he was like, hey, I'm Soupy Sales. By the way, Soupy's a nickname. I'm not describing myself.
If he didn't, he's crazy.
And then people are just on board the rest of his career.
That's right. He's Lebanese, you know.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Thanks for that bit of trivia. Bit of festive trivia here for the holiday season.
There's someone in my life who apprises me of every Lebanese celebrity.
Ah, interesting. We'll talk about that later.
What I'm related to by marriage.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we need to
also anybody from West Virginia. Always informed, kept up to date.
All right, Big Chunky Bubbles.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. Look, we need to get to
That's enough out of you, I guess.
Well, I mean, honestly, it is enough out of you.
Well, you admit it.
I still want you to continue talking. Look, will you please be my co-host and talk to our guest of honor?
How much does that pay?
Exactly zero.
I guess I got nowhere else to go.
Okay, I'm glad I caught you on an off day.
Yeah.
All right.
Real off day.
Are you a fan of our guest of honor?
Of course I am.
Okay, very good. So please have some questions ready because we're about to start talking to him.
What? This is turning into work.
Just very basic questions like how are you or something like that.
All right, can I use that one?
Okay, please. Yeah, I was going to do it first off the top, but feel free. All right, we need to get to him. This is very exciting. He has never been on the show before. This is the show where we talk to interesting people, which is, of course, our tagline that is sweeping the nation, the show where they talk to interesting people, and he certainly fits within that spectrum. Do you want to get to your question before I introduce him?
Sure.
You've been raising your hand this whole time.
My arm's tired.
All right, put it down then. He's called on you.
Do I get to do it or not?
Yeah, do it.
You in the back, Big Chunky Bubbles.
How are you?
Really? That's your question?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He was very excited.
He was waving his hand.
I didn't even want to do this. I was assigned a task.
But Neil, if you would just answer it, I would really appreciate it.
I'm very excited to be here. Big Chunky Bubbles.
All right. Can I make a confession?
Yeah. Oh, sure. I guess co-hosting duties include confessions. So go ahead.
You said duties.
I was thinking you were Sam Neill.
Oh.
Why did you? Because of his name, Neil. By the way, we don't know that it's not. I haven't introduced him yet. We'll get to you.
Well, we should do that.
I can tell you it's not.
Do you mean Thor Ragnarok's Sam Neill?
Yeah, the New Zealand actor.
Right, from Jurassic 1 and 3. Right. You big Sam Neill fan?
Of course I am. I love his wine, 2 paddocks.
Did you say Tupac's?
2 paddocks.
2 paddocks.
So much better than Tupac's wine.
Yeah, I can imagine. A big fan of the piano?
I love it.
What about the movie? The piano.
Boy, oh boy.
Okay, let's get to our first guest. Let's just get to his name. Everyone out there has guessed it, of course. Neil Patrick Harris is here.
Happening?
Hello.
It's so nice to be here. I am a fan of the show.
Oh my gosh.
I had never heard it until I read the New York Times profile on the show, which was what, your 1,000th or
500th?
500th? It
Right.
felt like 1,000 once I started listening.
It's
to
a pretty long show, yeah.
Wait, what? The New York who?
The New York Times or New Yorker or something? I can't remember what it was.
New York Times. It's a
New York Times
newspaper.
They did an article about this show?
Yeah, yeah. Big Chunky Bubbles, you're a recent person to be on it, but it's been around for a while and people enjoy.
Did they mention me in the article?
Neil, I don't really recall the article. Did they mention Big Chunky Bubbles?
They mentioned some little smooth.
Little smoothie.
Little smoothie, but they didn't mention Big
I don't think they
Chunky
mentioned Little Smoothie, no. Sorry, no. I mean, you're more of a recent favorite.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You got an answer for everything.
I don't want to keep apologizing to you throughout this interview. Our guest of honor is sitting here.
Go ahead, I'm not stopping you.
You literally stopped me. But let's talk to Neil for a bit. I mean, when you have a star of this caliber, the questions, they come fast and furious in your mind. What can one ask?
Were you in the Fast and Furious?
I was cut out of the first one.
Were you really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I wasn't neither Fast nor Furious.
Was the car not up to snuff?
I was supposed to be fixing the car. I was the guy and the hood was open and I was very slow and pretty happy. Like
too happy.
Average.
They're all very
happy.
serious. Well,
They're mad. And talk fast.
I guess if you're talking too slowly, then Vin Diesel is like, hey, now you're working my side of the street.
True that.
You know, when you're one of his friends, you're actually family.
Can you tell me about this catchphrase of yours?
The show where we talk to interesting people. What do you think?
Well, here's what I have. I thought about it.
Okay, great.
I've actually thought about it listening as a listener, loving the show, and I have a thought. I think it's a little bit boring.
Boring?
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because I laugh my face parts off when I listen to the show. But I feel like the show where we talk to interesting people.
So evocative.
But it could be like a British baking show. It could be just nightly news.
Do British baking shows have interesting people on them? I guess I haven't really thought about that.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds very specific to my show. I don't think it could really apply to other shows. Name another show where they talk to interesting people. I don't know.
Kind of like all the late night talk shows. That's kind of.
I haven't seen any of these.
The Charlie Rose show.
Charlie Rose, interesting.
The show where they used to talk to interesting people.
Yeah. So here's my pitch.
Okay, what do you got?
The show that talks to the interestingest people.
Whoa!
The interestingest of people.
Neil, can I tell you something? I was maybe going to retire this thing at the end of this year, and now you've given it a new lease on life. The show where we talk to the interestingest.
The interestingest?
The interestingest.
Of people.
Of people.
Yeah.
The of is very important in this, in the musicality of it.
Yeah, in scansion.
Right, exactly. It's almost like a Shakespeare line.
The interestingest of people.
Yes.
It implies some humor.
Sure. Oh, sure.
Interestingest.
Of course.
Yeah, it's fun.
Not a word.
Right.
With the exception of the Big Chunky Bubbles episodes, The show where they talk to the interestingest of people.
Why'd you have to do
Ouch.
that?
Ouch, man.
Boy, oh boy.
Is it like this always when you co-host?
Always. He's so rude.
You're the rude one, Big Chunky Bubbles.
Me?
Yeah.
What did I ever say
Yeah,
that was rude?
out of all of our guests, you're the one that seems to hate me the most.
That can't be true.
That's a burden on me.
What happened? Did you hate him so much?
I don't hate him. I just don't particularly like him, I guess.
He's
very rude.
He's a particular kind of misanthrope. He just never seems satisfied enough. I don't know. But the show where they talk to the most interesting-est of peoples.
You're making it too complicated.
That's going to be tough for me to say.
The show where they talk. Is it they? Is that what you say? They?
Yeah, it can't
what
be
do you
they.
say? When you
the show
say
where
it? Where we talk to the interestingest of people.
The show where we talk to the interestingest.
Oh, boy.
I got to write this down.
That ought to help.
Interestingest.
Yeah, not just interesting people, but the interestingest people.
The show where we talk to the interestingest.
Why can't you do
interesting? Interestingest.
Interestingest.
Why don't you just call the show Interesting Nest?
Like Empty Nest?
Like Empty Nest.
Yeah, like Empty Nest.
Like the sequel to Richard Mulligan's Empty Nest.
That's right. You consider it Richard Mulligan's Empty Nest?
Why wasn't his name above the title? And by the way, Neil, why wasn't your name above the title with How I Met Your Mother? Neil Patrick Harris is How I Met Your Mother. I know the title isn't about your character, but
the rest of the ensemble in that show, I think, would have taken issue with that.
By the way, presumably his character also met the mother.
Well, I guess they all did. Why wasn't it called How We All Met Your Mother?
It was a first-person tale.
It was, but I mean, he's including everyone else, like how we all met this mother of yours.
True, but did you
very self-centered?
Did you see the show?
Oh yeah, of course.
So it starts with the guy in the future talking to his kids.
Sure, of course, and
hence the title.
Right. How me and my friend. How about this? How me and my friends all met your mother.
That would have been better on a billboard for sure.
Well, and speaking of that show, are you guys going to do a Will and Grace thing where it's just like, hey, forget the last season. We're hanging out?
I hope not.
What do you mean when you say now we're just hanging out?
Well, like Will and Grace, I think, didn't some of them get married at the end of that show or something? And then they tossed out the events wrapping up the show and said, now we're just doing more episodes.
Reboot.
Yeah.
But there's stories.
They're stories, but I don't mean to imply that it's literally just conversations.
That's what it sounded like. They just turn on a camera and they're all sitting around on a couch or something.
Well, excuse me, Big Chunky Bubbles.
Now who's the rude one?
You! Picking apart every word I say?
I just was confused, and I'm sure some of the listeners were too.
Okay, don't speak for the listeners.
Don't you turn me down when I yell.
Awkward.
So, Neil, tell us about your current projects. We have Downsizing the Film. Comes out in roughly, I would say, 10 days or so from this airing. I saw it last night. Dynamite film.
Thanks.
Alexander Payne's new one. His last film. Was it The Descendants, or did he do one after that? I can't recall.
Nebraska.
Yeah,
yes.
Was Nebraska the last one?
It was, yes.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Featuring friends of the show, Will Forte and
Bruce
Bob
Dern.
Odenkirk, Bruce Dern, June Squibb. What if she was on the show every week? Just wondering what's going on.
Is she not?
I wish she was. She should be on next week. June, if you're out there, please get on this. Yeah. Being a Broadway actor, what is the night where you're like, oh man, it's going to be a good show on fill in the blank? Is it Saturday?
The best are usually Friday nights, Thursday nights, when the weekends are coming.
What about Tuesday? Like you're fresh off Monday, having Monday off?
Yeah, Tuesdays are all right.
Yeah, Wednesdays?
With Hedwig, I didn't have to do too many matinees. I didn't want to be performing to old ladies who were 90 years old.
I tell you,
these punk rock anthems and stuff.
On New Year's Eve, I was in the New York metropolitan area a few years back, and I saw a New Year's Eve matinee of Patti LuPone and Mandy Patinkin.
At Lincoln Center? Was it one of those?
No, it was in a tiny theater. I mean, a Broadway-sized theater, so I guess above 99 or whatever. And and I didn't really realize where I had bought the tickets, and they were literally the front row.
Oh man!
And everyone, it's a New Year's Eve matinee. Everyone is over 100 years old, other than us, and they all were sleeping during it. And Patti LuPone, just searching for some connection, just sang every line at my wife and I.
Wow! Look. finding the couple.
Just finding the two who are like, yay, we're happy to be
awake.
here.
She yelled at me once for getting a phone call during a performance.
Oh, that was you?
Wait, that was you.
Wow.
Big Chunky Bubbles.
I went to see Gypsy.
You know, you're not supposed to do that. You're not.
I was waiting for a very important call about a gig.
So go somewhere else.
Go to the lobby.
Well, I can't go to the lobby because they had routed the rotary phone into the theater. I was in the very last row.
It was a rotary phone?
Yeah, it was the theater's rotary
Why is
phone.
the theater providing a rotary phone?
Quite an exception that they're making.
I provided the phone and I just plugged it into their jack. I wanted to have a good connection. You need a landline for a good connection.
Good connection with Patti LuPone.
I
that's for
sure
sure.
didn't. She humiliated me in front of everyone.
Patti LuPone.
Seriously,
That's
have
what
you
I
ever said
should have
that to her?
called her.
Now, Neil, you also have this children's book, The Magic Misfits. And this sounds really interesting because a lot of times I'll read a children's book and I'll think, what did that take someone like 10 minutes to write? You know?
Right? I think the same
They're like
thing.
one sentence per page.
Why
right?
are you reading children's books?
And they don't even have good. That's an interesting question. Scott, what?
I'm trying to work my way up to the great American novel.
Where are you reading these children's books?
You know, I mean, I have my places, my secret spots.
You go to secret spots?
I mean, this is coming out way weirder than I expected it to.
Do you just hang out in the children's section of Barnes and Noble?
To be honest, that's one of my secret spots. Don't blow it up for me.
So yeah, so I wrote that first book. It came out and it's doing quite well. It's a number 3 on a New York Times bestseller list. It
This
has
is
magic
incredible.
tricks within it. I think it's fun. I like magic.
That's amazing. What is the most complicated trick you know, or can perform? Let me amend this.
Complicated.
What's your showstopper? That's a better question, right? Red Big Chunky Bubbles? BCB?
What?
Never mind.
I didn't know you could use your phone so well,
Hey, I
Chunky
got
B.
Yeah, but once I got a portable phone.
So you didn't have a portable? That's the biggest thing of the
I had one, but I needed a clear connection.
All right.
I have a magic question.
Yes, sir.
That movie, Now You See Me, it's all about magic people. Then they make a sequel. What was it called? Now You See Me Too. Why wasn't it called Now You Don't?
It's a fantastic question. Because what would the third one be called?
Around the Corner Where the Fudge is Made?
Ew. That's disgusting.
I'm sorry, that's a different rhyme. I'm sorry. Well,
that sounds so gross.
Have you never heard that before?
No. I'm slightly turned on, and I'm think that's also kind of disgusting.
But if you made a movie called Milk, you'd definitely make the sequel Lemonade.
Maybe. What if
Do you
Beyonce's
think
first
Beyonce
album was
has
Milk?
Milk?
Oh, we were both rushing to get it out. But in that competition, I won.
Well, I can only speak so quickly.
I think the listeners won.
That's true. Neil, you got to tell us what's coming up in the future. You obviously have 8 projects going at any single time.
I have a lot of stuff going on right now. I'm about to start filming season 3 of Series of Unfortunate Events, filming in Vancouver, British Columbia, in Canada land.
How long do you spend up there? A good 5 months or so?
I've spent a lot of time there in the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but, and I love it there, actually. Have you been to Vancouver?
I have. I got engaged there.
Really?
I did, my dear boy.
Really?
Yes.
Whereabouts?
On a boat out there in you know where all that water is.
The bay?
Yeah.
Vancouver Bay?
Yeah, I believe that's what it was.
BC
yeah.
Bay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm working on...
Speaking of BCB, yeah. Oh, you said VC Bay.
VC Bay. A little different.
Thanks for remembering I'm alive.
Sorry, do you want to get in on this?
No, I don't want to step on anybody's toe.
You're supposed to be asking questions. What's your favorite Neil Patrick
How
Harris?
are you now?
I'm better. I'm oddly better now.
There we go. What a scoop.
What's your favorite project that Neil has been involved in? And ask him a question about that.
All right.
So much to choose from. He has an IMDb page as long as the internet itself.
I was the token
What?
white guy in Undercover Brother.
Oh, I love that movie.
Wait, you love that movie?
I've seen every Eddie Griffin film.
How many are we talking?
All of them.
Okay, well, sure. Academy Award for downsizing for your performance this year?
Likely not. I worked the final day of the film.
I mean, Helen Mirren got one for Shakespeare in Love, right? Was that her in that? Or
That
no,
was her.
Judi Dench.
Oh, that was.
Is that racist?
That's racist. Super racist.
How long was she in it? She was in it like 10 minutes or
Wasn't
something.
Judi Dench in The Big Chill? That's you.
Sorry. I have to know everything?
I thought of my question.
Okay, what do you got?
You were in American Horror Story.
I was.
Why are those billboards so unpleasant?
I wish I knew that answer. The billboards are more shocking in many ways than the shows themselves.
Not as bad as The Strain. That
Oh,
one had
man,
a
boy.
worm coming out of an eyeball.
How about It? That was a scary film. Did you go to that It haunted house that they had here in Hollywood?
No, I didn't see that one.
Disrupt traffic.
Oh, really?
I think so. They built that whole It house.
They did?
A walk-through haunted house, like a pop-up haunted house. that
Where was I?
Actually on Sunset and Gower or
I
something.
did see at Comic-Con there were they hired a bunch of little I presume they were children, but I guess they could have just been short people, but in yellow slickers wandering around with balloons, red balloons, and not talking to anyone, just like walking through the crowd.
Oh, yeah. Where
that
was
spooky.
this?
This was at Comic-Con.
Oh, cool.
In the middle of the street.
Yeah. Did you see that movie?
I did see that movie. What'd you think?
Super loved it. Super scary.
Yeah? You like it? What's
Very tasteful billboard.
Please welcome Big Chunky Bubbles.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to sit here.
Please, you can have a seat anywhere you like, Big Chunky Bubbles.
Thank you.
May I ask, though, there was certainly not silence from the crowd when you walked out.
No, they gave me a nice round of applause.
People are very happy to see you. But were we
That's
not...
a first.
Were we not supposed to have some sort of musical cue?
We were.
Engineer Ryan over here.
Who?
Not a listener.
This guy Ryan's not a listener?
You.
What are you talking about? Already, you're very combative.
If that song were to come on, would you want to hear it?
I'd love to hear it. It's my favorite song.
So even if it were in the middle of a sentence.
There it is. Yeah. It's a beautiful song.
I hurt myself today to see if I...
All right, that's enough. What is this, Sam Goody? We're going to sit and listen to the whole thing?
Is that what you used to do at record stores?
That's what I heard people did.
Didn't go to a lot of outside places?
No, the way I was raised, I wasn't allowed to go into any retail establishments.
This is an important part of your backstory.
I guess it is now.
This is shocking to me.
Did you ever see that movie, Captain Fantastic?
And no.
It was just him. He got the title all to himself.
No Sundance Kid.
Nope. No brown dirt cowboy. Is that who you were
That's
thinking
who I
of?
was thinking of,
Yeah.
What about it?
It's this movie where Viggo Mortensen raises this family in like a weird cult, and they think they're better than everybody else. And that's kind of like what my upbringing was like. My parents were very strict. They didn't want me and my siblings to mingle with the outside world.
This does not surprise me.
Why do you say that?
Well, you have sort of if I could describe your personality, I'm not
This
saying...
ought to be good.
The word, and it's one word, hyphenated, antisocial.
You said it yourself that I'm a children's entertainer.
I did not say...
It doesn't get much more social than that.
I did not say you were successful at it. I would have said it in the introduction. Our next guest, or first guest, is
I didn't think that would have to be part of the introduction. Do you ever see a talk show where they say our next guest is a successful actor?
I always judge people's careers in my introductions.
You assume that if they don't say it, then they must not be doing that good.
Our first guest is a middling G-list children's entertainer.
First of all, you don't know anything about the list of children's entertainers. I'm definitely in the C's.
You are. Congratulations.
Firmly. I do all right.
Who would be in the A-list of children's entertainers?
Oh, boy. John Tesh.
The writer of the Entertainment Tonight theme song?
He's an accomplished musician. And he plays children's parties, which is just his new age stuff, but he does a different setting on the keyboard. So it sounds like,
Is that what new age music
stuff.
is?
What?
It's just children's music with a different setting?
I didn't say that. You're making a big assumption. What a logic leap. I ought to call you Frogger.
You may if you want to.
All right, Frogger.
By the way, every guest tonight picked their own entrance music like it's a Major League Baseball game.
That's right. My walk-up music was Hurt by Johnny Cash. Why did you say that to me? I knew about the scheme. Also, I think we covered it.
No, you had entrance music. I wanted everyone to know that everyone chose their own.
I don't think people care. We've moved past it.
We'll see.
I guess we will when it works out great for everybody but me.
You, Big Chunky Bubbles, if you could, I'm glad that you said that because you are, if you could tell everyone here a little bit about your backstory.
This again?
Sorry to make you do it every single time I talk to you, but just give them a refresher
Very well.
course.
Silence, Frogger. My name is Petey Amin. I've heard all the jokes.
I forgot that.
My stage name is Big Chunky Bubbles because I'm a bubble artist, except I don't use soap because that's stupid. I use the bubbles made out of piping hot soups and stews. The thicker viscosity adds to the artistry of the end bubble.
Have you ever been quoted on a soup can saying that? I think that would be a great pull quote.
That would be a dream.
Just your face frowning.
Why do you say frowning? I smile.
I have never seen you smile.
Consider the source.
You?
No, you're the source of my not smiling.
Oh, okay. Consider the source. I'm an unhappy guy.
I would love to get a soup endorsement. That would be great. Make things a lot easier for me.
Easier in what way? Monetarily? Others?
I was thinking monetarily, but who knows? Maybe then I could fly.
What I mean to say is, perhaps, because you've had a rough go of it going to these parties, because children
Not always. Sometimes they like it.
The reviews, though, have not been kind.
I've gotten some bad reviews. I don't know why anybody's reviewing kids' parties anyway. That seems like Find something else to do.
Are they reviewing the entire party or just
No,
your portion?
just me. And let me tell you something, I'm the highlight of a lot of these parties. They just get some supermarket sheet cake, not even a picture cake. You know what I mean? Where it would be the birthday boy or girl and then a Pokemon or something.
The birthday boy and girl on the cake or as the cake? What? Never mind.
How does this concept elude you?
What I'm trying to say, though, Big Chunky Bubbles, is you have not had, proportionally, you have not had a great amount of luck with these children's parties, mainly because...
I'm an artist. And a lot of parents fail to understand that, not to mention these stupid kids who don't get it at all.
Do you caution them as the show progresses?
Of course I do. It's a good 50 minutes of the show. It's all the warnings.
Pointing out emergency exits?
I say, look, this is my usual spiel. I'll shorten it for this crowd, because they're adults. They don't need to have it reinforced so much. I'll say, attention, attention! Everyone quiet down. Stop playing. Everyone stop laughing and giggling and enjoying yourselves. Because now the real party starts. My name is Big Chunky Bubbles. I'm going to make my name for you. I try to give them a chance to untangle that. You'd think they'd get it right away, but they're just staring at me with their dumb goggle eyes.
Goggle eyes?
Goggle eyes. Yeah, you got it.
Continue.
So, what? What are you saying over here? I'm not saying anything, man, she says, but I clearly heard something. I'm just appreciative, I'm just an audience, man.
I think there was a comma after audience.
Yeah, okay.
She's calling you
No,
man.
I got it. Okay, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Anyway.
Is this part of it?
Yeah. This is my assistant. We scripted this out. May I continue?
But of course.
I say, children, what you're about to see is nothing short of awe-inspiring. I am taking an ancient art form and bringing it into the 21st century.
Hey, can I interrupt?
Yeah.
What part is bringing it into the 21st century?
The soup, stews, and chowders. No one else has done it, and no one else is doing it. I'm the only one.
So soups, stews, and chowders existed pre-21st century, but no one had done it before the 21st century. So you started after the year 2000.
Maybe I've adjusted the speech.
I see.
Yeah, do you? I don't know how it works with you comedy guys. You say just the other day about something that happened 5 years ago.
You got us about that.
I say to the kids, since the dawn of time, mankind has wanted to make a horse out of bubbles. But we could never capture its majesty with mere soap. I will take you to a world where wild Mustangs run free.
Earth. Or, I'm sorry, is this some sort of alien planet where horses exist?
Why do you do this?
I'm sorry, Big Chunky Bubbles. Please continue.
I say to them, remember, while you're watching this performance, you are not dreaming. Now, let's establish the ground rules. First of all, everybody needs to scoot back a good few feet. These soups, stews, and chowders are H-O-T hot. And I'm not going to spend another afternoon in a hospital waiting room watching the clock and wondering if I'm going to get sued. Number 2, there's no talking during the performance. I have to concentrate, and I can't be answering a lot of GD questions.
Have you ever gotten pushback on that portion? The GD, which I believe stands for goddamn.
So you say.
So there's just enough subtlety in it that it could be left up to interpretation.
Well, yeah. So if a parent says, I don't appreciate you saying GD, I'll say, oh, you don't like the phrase good day? I think it's very pleasant. And then the parent will say, you know what I mean. And I'll say, what? I play dumb.
Sort of like how you act with me.
Except I don't get paid for this. So that hit some people really hard.
People felt bad for this fictional arrangement we have.
So let's GD questions.
GD questions.
Yeah. Finally, at no point will I ever let you sample the soups, stews, and chowders. They are for my artistic purposes only and can be dangerous if consumed by humans.
What makes them so dangerous? Are you making the soups yourself, or are these store-bought soups?
I'm buying the soups, and there's certain additives I use to enhance color and fixatives.
Now, I don't believe we've ever talked about
We
this.
actually have.
Uh-oh.
I just remembered it and threw it in. Anyway, it's not going to kill you like you got bit by a snake or anything, but it's not going to be pleasant. So then, if the kids are still making noise, I have to which they always are, I have to say, okay, shush, 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 shush. It's time for the entertainment to start. Now, at this point, a lot of them are booing.
When you said they were making noise, it's the noise of...
Well, they're talking to each other, but then when I do the shush, 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 they don't like that at all. But I'm led to believe by the parents that I'm in charge of my own performance.
They abdicate the role of parent to you during this performance.
Not parent, but authority figure.
Certainly.
I'm in charge. It's my show. So I can tell people shush, 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 shush.
I should keep that in mind.
Really? How about 5 minutes ago when Squeaky was talking to me? Anyway. So, at that point, I start taking the lids off of the various, bowls and... Tureens, that's the word I was looking for. I almost said cisterns.
Cistern.
Don't get that.
I believe it's from the color purple. Anyway, please continue.
Thank you. Thank you for interrupting me with your stream of consciousness musings.
Welcome to Comedy Bang Bang. Good catchphrase submission from Big Chunky Bubbles. We can put you on the website, Frowning.
What? Oh. You can't turn my frown upside down?
I guess we have a Photoshop account. Squarespace will help this.
You have a Photoshop account. Squarespace is probably too complicated for people to use, though.
How many clicks of the mouse do you like to do?
I mean, I'd like to get it under 2 if possible.
Sounds about right with them. Do you ever ask them for a verbal yes or anything that they won't try to consume these?
Got an airplane on the brain. I don't ask them for, I've told them not to do it. Why should I? What good is a child's word? They live to lie. It's true. Once a child, I'm a father too.
That's right. How many children do you have again?
I have 3, Robbie, Bobby, and Tag.
How are they doing these days?
They're the same.
Yeah.
Blame me for their mother's death.
And you believe you have no culpability.
I mean, were there things I could have done better? Sure.
Primarily amongst them, the soup part of her death.
Yeah. She was killed in a wave of soup. The worst part was the smell.
Because it smelled so
delicious, yeah.
So anytime you smell delicious soup cooking, does it remind you of her?
Yeah. That's another reason why I put chemicals in the soups that I use, so they don't smell as good. But that also means they don't smell as good to everybody else. And so that when I'm taking the lids off the tureens, smells kind of rancid and chemically.
People kind of recoil from this because of the formaldehyde type smell?
I guess you could say formaldehyde. I don't think it's that bad, honestly. You like the smell of gasoline when you're filling up your car? Some bad smells can be pleasurable. Anyway, I set about my show and I start making the big chunky bubbles, and the kids just don't appreciate it. And I don't know when kids got so jaded that they can't like a bubble show.
I mean, with technology, when you mentioned the 21st century, you know, people's phones now and the 2-pack hologram,
They're up to 2 packs of holograms? Is this a vape thing?
I wonder if a normal bubble artist using soap bubbles, I don't mean to say normal, saying you're abnormal.
It's out there now, though.
I apologize for that.
Accept it.
But I wonder if a soap bubble artist would have the same impact as well, or if people are just moving on past live entertainment.
Well, I snuck into a party once to see a soap bubble. One of my competitors, I'm being generous by using that term.
Which list are they on?
This particular one, I guess you could say, is on the low end of the A's, maybe a B+. This guy calls himself Bobolino. And he dresses like a clown. He doesn't dress tastefully like I do in my white tie and tails.
I was going to mention that.
A lot of people think I dress like a clown. When they hear me on the show, I don't. I never said that I did.
One person in particular, I think, tried to rush the stage at our last show dressed as a clown. And
that was unnerving.
We did not understand why.
Unnerving for you, I should say. I wasn't there. Anyway, so I sneak in to see this Bubbolino, right? Dressed like a clown. He's got like a wig with bubbles on it. We get it. You do bubbles. And he pulls out this just dish of soap. He's got one of these wands. He's got all kinds of little wands.
Do you not use wands?
Of course I do. But mine are handcrafted. They're beautiful old world craftsmanship.
Really? You handcrafted them yourself, or?
No, they were handcrafted in the old world. I found them via treasure map.
Hold on. Why are we rehashing old history?
I don't know. It's what you love to do. All you ever want to do is ask me questions I've already answered a bunch of times. Yeah. I'm an interesting guy.
But my point is, you keep adding interesting layers to it. I've never heard the speech.
Oh, it's the most you let me talk without asking me something you already asked me before.
Where did you... we'll get back to Bobolino, maybe.
I'll save you the time. He sucks.
Okay, great.
He makes soap bubbles. The kids ate it up like, oh, this is great. Oh, he made a cow. Oh, he made a,
Javelina?
No, he didn't make a javelina. You think because of the name? Because his name is Bubbolino, he's going to make a javelina? No. Why would javelina be on the forefront of your mind?
The first animal I could think of.
No, he makes like a Thanos or whatever.
I bet that particular wand also could be a dark side.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay,
now.
never mind. Sure you don't.
I don't. I'm Big Chunky Bubble.
So let's get back to the treasure map part of this.
Oh, really? Okay. I mean...
Was this some sort of national treasure type of situation?
What's that?
As far as I can recall, it was a Nicolas Cage movie, I believe, where the map to something is on the back of the Constitution.
Okay, it's a Nicolas Cage movie where the map to something is on the back of the Constitution.
Or the Declaration of Independence?
Oh, now I'm intrigued. Anyway, I studied the bubble arts in Europe. I backpacked as a young man all over Europe studying with the great bubble artists of the day. I was a journeyman, I was an apprentice, and then eventually a master. And I was in Italy. Ever been there?
I have not. It looks like a boot. From what I can tell.
Do you think you made that up?
I've never heard it.
Well, I'm proud of you. I was in a little village in Sorrentino, and I was talking to an old man, an old peasant villager man. And I was despairing because I was at a certain point in my journey where I wasn't getting the bubbles just right. And this old peasant village man saw my despair, and he said to me in Italian, "Why are you so sad?"
I enjoyed that you translated to English, yet you still did the Italian hand gesture.
That's what he did to me. Why are you so sad?
Noted.
I said, I'm very depressed because I can't make bubbles the way I want to make them. And he said, oh, you should go into the town and see the famous clown, Pagliacci.
Wait a minute. I think I know this story. What did you say back to him?
I said, Pagliacci, like from the song? From opera, you know? And he said, no, there's a clown too. And uses that name. And I said, is it really funny?
Like funny, like, yeah. You know, like doesn't pay attention to this PC culture.
Yeah, I don't want to go to see some clown who's an SJW. I'm First Amendment all the way, baby.
Sure.
And the old Italian village peasant man said, you know what? It's pleasant. I'm not going to say it's going to change your life. Maybe don't go see Pagliacci.
This was in English.
No, this is in Italian. I'm translating for you.
Okay. It sounded like you put a little spin on it at the end there. Maybe no go see.
I think you heard what you wanted to hear.
Okay.
So I said, all right, well, back to square one then, I guess. Thanks, Italian village peasant man. He goes, you know what? I feel bad. How about a treasure map?
Wow. The end of that story went somewhere I did not expect it to.
Me too!
But
Imagine how I felt.
That's life, right?
That is life. I mean, one minute you're sitting there down in the dumps in Sorrentino. And the next minute you're on stage in Kansas City, Missouri, and there's a bunch of TV screens looking at you. You don't see those?
I guess I do. What do they say? What are the... I don't want to divert attention away from the stage necessarily. Let's point out other things. We already talked about the paintings. They're beautiful, are they not?
They're all right.
The kind of thing you would see in Sorrentino.
Newsweek magazine.
All right.
See, there's a reference.
Yep. So this treasure map then led you on a merry chase, I would imagine.
I did have quite an adventure. It took me all over the world, if you can believe it.
How long did it take you to go around the world?
81 days.
Oh, almost. Almost broke the record.
I know. Well, tied. It took me to, the place I got bogged down the most was Micronesia, because it's 600 islands.
Really?
And the map said, it was very explicit, check every island.
Okay, usually a treasure map points you where to go.
Yeah, but this was like a fancy treasure map. You had to like hold it up to a candlelight and stuff like that, and there'd be little hidden messages and stuff. I mean, it would make a great movie.
So, smash cut 2.
Hey now.
You have, how many of these instruments were you able to find on this treasure hunt?
I collected 7 of the 8. There's still one that eluded me.
And was it pointed to on the map, or what exactly happened?
It was one of those things where, now you've collected the 7, can you solve the riddle to find the 8th?
Right, yeah. And you've never been able to solve the riddle?
No.
Do you have the map on you?
Of course I do. I carry it with me at all times.
I gotta ask.
Huh?
Could we hear the riddle? Maybe we could solve it.
All right, let me take the old map out.
That's a long one.
Yeah, it's a long map. More of an atlas, really. All right, let's see what it says here.
Surprised you haven't memorized this. It's so important to you.
Well, do you want to read it?
Oh no, you're so... You wanted to sit so far away from me. I don't have my reading glasses.
Here you go.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's a long one.
More of an atlas.
Are you swimming?
If the eighth instrument is what thy desire.
Yeah, the grammar's a little off.
Who wrote this?
It's some goofball.
Did you ever find out where these were from? Who owned them all, or?
There was a guild of artisans from the 14th century, and they all had met up in one spot every year to pray to the gods of creativity.
Well, maybe it's the clue is here in the clue
Well,
of where that spot is.
Read on.
So, if the eighth instrument is what thy desire, then travel to the island of fire. The island of fire.
Now, at first I thought, Fire Island.
Sure, yeah, where guys meet up.
But they didn't mean that at all.
They
There
didn't.
was nothing there.
Nothing.
And in fact, people in Fire Island were mad. They're like, another map guy? It's not here, dude.
Did you have fun though?
Yeah, I had a good time.
To the center of the earth.
Look there, no dice.
Really? And back. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So you didn't read on.
No, I thought when I came back, it'll be there.
It'll be there. Oh, okay. To the center of the earth and back, one must go.
Did that. Wish I'd read that whole thing.
Right.
I wouldn't have looked for the map at the center of the earth and
Right.
then back in the hole when I came out.
Right. Ending up in that land down below.
Yeah, it's
Down
clunky,
below.
right?
Yeah, it's
Like it doesn't flow very well.
it's like almost iambic pentameter, but not.
It's
quite
like they gave
there.
up, yeah.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
whoever wrote it was like, let's just wrap it up.
Yeah.
I didn't want to write this anyway.
Someone else should have written this.
Yeah, they should have written it.
Come on.
I thought you were saying they should have like won a gold medal like Mary Lou Retton.
Yeah, okay. You're playing dumb like the GD. But the island down below.
The island down below. What could that be?
South of the equator, perhaps?
Perhaps.
South of the border, down Mexico way?
But where were they when they wrote the map?
Oh, let me check this out. By the way, I'm in Japan.
Oh.
An island below Japan. You know, the island down below, down under.
Yeah.
You know, Australia is called down under. Have you ever been there?
I've never been there. It was the one place I missed.
Out of the 7 continents, you missed Australia? You went to Antarctica?
Of course I went to Antarctica.
But never to Australia. Why not Australia?
It just seemed like, what's there, you know?
It's kind of like shitty LA.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, you should go. I mean, you should take a trip. It seems like it would be there. I mean, you know, Australia's a big continent, but...
You think it's there, the very last place that I'd look?
It usually is.
Yeah, you're right. I forget, there was some comedian had a bit about that. Like, of course it's the last place that you look, because you find something and keeps on looking. Who was that?
Who was that?
You've heard that joke.
I've thought that joke every time I hear that expression.
Oh,
so
okay.
I must have heard it from someone.
Wayne Cotter?
Mr. Cotter?
No, that's a different... Anyway.
Do you know what the 8th instrument is? I mean, do you know its shape? Would you be able to make a certain type of creature?
It's the all wand. You can make anything you wish.
Oh, BCB, you gotta get this all wand.
You think?
Yeah! This could solve all of your problems. I mean, you could go rocket to the top of the A-list with this thing.
Maybe I could. Could finally probably make a Spider-Man that all those kids won't shut up about.
What's the closest you've gotten to a Spider-Man?
A spider.
That's more impressive.
I think so. It's two bubbles, a big one and a little one, and then some limp spaghetti coming out for legs.
So is it like a minestrone soup or something with pasta in it?
I shouldn't tell you.
But
it is.
All right. With gasoline and formaldehyde and thickening agents.
Thickening agents. I don't put gasoline in formaldehyde.
Well, Big Chunky Bubbles, when you return to the show, I hope that you'll have gone on sort of a vision quest to try to get this all wand.
So you're asking me back. This is a return booking that's promised.
Normally I would not commit to something.
But you just did.
But I just did, yeah.
All
So
right.
please come back.
Word is bond. We have a verbal contract.
Well, Big Chunky Bubbles, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No.
Okay, Big Chunky Bubbles, everyone.
All of you are doomed. All of you are doomed. I hope you liked my show.
Big Chunky Bubbles.
Yeah.
You down with BCB?
They got it.